Hello and top of the morning to you. My name's Don Arleth and you're watching Morning World Today. We'll be joined by Alex Sumlinska soon for a press review, but first off, let's dive in this morning to the latest stories from the last 24 hours.
The gas transport agreement between Ukraine and Russia for the delivery of gas to Europe is set to expire by the end of 2024. The situation is particularly concerning for Hungary, which heavily relies on gas imports from the Russian giant Gazprom. However, Serbia might wish to step in and take advantage of the situation by increasing its gas transit. Russia and Belarus are set to conduct joint military drills. Thousands of Russian soldiers have already arrived in the town of Brest, near Belarus's border with Poland. The drills are likely to further heighten tensions between Minsk and Warsaw. Beijing has launched military drills around and has called them a stern warning. Dozens of Chinese warplanes and several warships were sighted dangerously close to Taiwan. This move comes after Taiwan's vice president made a stop in the US on his way to Paraguay. Following a violent campaign, Ecuador's 13 million eligible voters have been deciding the country's future in an early presidential election. The vote comes after the fall of Guillermo Lasso's right-wing cabinet. The favorite to win is left-wing candidate Luisa González. Millions of Americans are bracing for Hurricane Hilary's landfall in California. Local authorities warn of possible life-threatening floods and have recommended that people stay at home. This comes after the hurricane caused devastating rains in Mexico.
And now, joining us for the press review this morning is our very own Alex Sumlinska.
Alex, hi, good morning.
Good morning. Nice to see you. Now, what do you have for us this morning in the press review?
All right, so we have a selection of articles. The first one coming from the Kyiv Post, and we have it right up here on the screen with the title, "Destitute, some Ukrainians forced to accept Russian assistance." Assistance being, in this case, according to the article, Russian passports. Because what the Russians are doing on occupied territories of Ukraine is pretty much forcing people to either accept a Russian passport or not be able to buy a house, or like a spokesman for Ukraine's Center for National Resistance told the Kyiv Post, today without a Russian passport, it's very difficult for people to survive in the occupied territories, and they just force you to accept it. So if you apply for a Russian passport, you can then get a housing certificate, which allows you to buy a house. Now, why do people do this? So there are some people that are, described here in the article, and they are refugees who left Ukraine once the war broke out. But then when they were in the West, renting a place or even getting a job was very, very hard, so they were forced to come back. And here in the article, the people that come back, they come back to Kherson, and also to the area where the Nova Kakhovka Dam was also blown up. So the housing situation there is very, very dire and difficult. So that is why some people do it.
I've met a family before in Kiev, and actually they were saying that their parents were left behind in Donetsk, and actually for them to stay in their house, they were being forced to take a Russian passport. So I think it's a really big problem, good highlight by the Kyiv Post. Now, moving on, what do we have next?
Right. I just wanted to add one thing, because the author in the article also says that there is a real estate agent who already sold some houses in Crimea, and there are stories where people sell their houses and then donate the money to the Ukrainian army.
Well, that surely is interesting. We have heard that those house prices are declining in Crimea, as I guess the future is uncertain there, right?
Right. So we're going to have to wait and see.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
But now on to some good news, which hopefully will, allow Ukraine to make that. I spoke to one gentleman yesterday who said that hopefully the next counteroffensive that they do, be it in the winter or in the spring, he said he hopes it will be the last one with a positive outcome. So on to an article from our own TVP World titled "Ukraine to get F-16s from Denmark and the Netherlands," right? So after much anticipation and waiting for the US to give that green light, which they finally did on Friday, Denmark and the Netherlands have said they will give F-16 fighter jets to Ukraine once conditions are met. Now, pilots have already began training, but it may take at least another 6 months or maybe a little bit longer to also train engineers and mechanics. But the situation is, everything is moving forward, so it's going in the right direction. President Zelensky has called the deal a breakthrough agreement. So yeah, this looks like, like a very good thing for Ukraine.
Right. Well, we've all been waiting for this for months. Of course, it started out with the coalition which Poland put together to try and transfer MiGs, at least give them some assistance. Washington wanting to focus on the air defense itself. And now, well, we have a green light, but we have quite a bit of time to wait. So it'll definitely be interesting to see, first of all, how effective this counteroffensive is. And second of all, when those F-16s do get sent to Ukraine, exactly what impact on the battlefield that they'll have there.
Right. Hopefully a good one with a positive outcome for Ukraine.
So we hope. Okay, so moving on, besides the F-16s, we have...
So now we're moving across the globe because the U.S., and this is an article from El País, the English version, U.S., Japan, and Australia plan joint Navy drills in disputed South China Sea, according to a Philippine official. So the United States, exactly, and Japan and Australia will have these drills. They will include, according to the article, 3 aircraft and helicopter carriers sailing together in a show of force. Now, why this is happening? This is because on August 5th, Chinese Coast Guard ships, they used water cannons against Philippine vessels in the South China Sea, where disputes, have been long seen as a flashpoint that might trigger something more, right? In this case, a war, right, over Taiwan and this disputed area. So the Philippines, they will not be part of this week's drills due to military logistical limitations, according to the article, but they are open to becoming a part of any other future such endeavors.
Right, highly contested waters there in the South China Sea.
Very
interesting images that we saw about a week ago was this abandoned destroyer. I think it was a destroyer, a military destroyer that was basically immovable in the sea, and of course the Chinese asking the Filipinos to remove that ship and to give them full access to the water. Of course, Philippines saying no. Going to be continued tensions there in the South China Sea for sure.
So it seems, yes.
And
all right, let's move on. So we have the Japan Times. Japan, South Korea, and the U.S. hailed ties, but staying power questioned. So what happened was the leaders of Japan, South Korea, and the U.S. met at Camp David in the United States, where they announced a new era of trilateral cooperation. Right now, this being very important cooperation because it's, let's say, a coalition, a counter-coalition against the growing threat of China, right? As it continues flexing its muscles, people are very worried about what will China do with Taiwan? Will they invade? Will they not invade? And of course, these 3 countries saying that they would, of course, they are trying to counter, right, China, and in order to make sure that that does not happen. So the interesting is the author of this article, he mentions, so now the things that were established here are, so the three leaders are to meet in person at least once a year, while also dispatching cabinet members, including their defense chiefs, top diplomats, but also they plan to share real-time missile warning data by the year's end. So it all sounds very good, very promising, but the question is, will it stick? Will it stay in place? So the plan is a very good plan, but will it work the way it should? That's the question posed by the author of this article. Let's hope that it does.
Well, you have the historic tensions between Korea and Japan, right? So hopefully that's something that can be overcome in order to counteract China. Whether that will take place, as you mentioned, due to those historic differences, if you will, well, that will definitely be remain to be seen.
Right. And I think, sorry to interrupt, but just like you said, it's a big thing that South Korea and Japan, they got together at the summit because of those historical differences. So that's a very big deal.
Right. Good development out of Japan and South Korea there. Now, on to the next.
Yes, so this one is from The Independent. Russia's Luna 25 spacecraft crashes into moon in failed mission. So something didn't go the way it should have gone. So what happened was, this was actually Russia's first lunar mission in decades, which unfortunately hasn't worked out. So the Luna 25, it was to land on the south pole of the moon on Monday. And what's also interesting is that the author of this article points out that Russia and India are actually they are in a space race. So, well, looks like 1-0, or in this case, well, Russia, it didn't work out. However, there is an expert who was quoted in this article, and he said that the flight control system was a vulnerable area which had to go through many fixes. And he also says that Russia, instead of, how we say baby steps, right? Russia, so he says that Russia went for something more ambitious rather than undertaking, and I quote, a simpler orbital mission. Something that, the US does, China did, and India. So they decided to go much further. And unfortunately, well, things didn't work out the way they had hoped to.
Right, and actually land that spacecraft on the moon. I wonder what kind of effect the whole situation with sanctions, the war in Ukraine and whatnot had on this project. Was it said how long this project was in motion?
Well, the last time that Russia did send a craft into space was back in 1976, and this mission was called Luna 24. However, the author of the article does point out that this mission failure would pile pressure on Russia's $200 trillion economy, and particularly its high-tech sector, right, as it deals with Western sanctions. So not good news for Moscow in this situation.
Little correction, $2 trillion economy.
That's right, trillion.
And falling.
Thank you for that. Yes, exactly.
Okay, well, that was Russia and its spectacular failure to not many surprise.
That's right.
And finally, what is our last item of the morning here?
The last piece comes from Politico, and it's titled "Biden Faces Calls to Declare Climate Emergency as He Heads to Maui." Right? We all have seen those devastating images of the island of Hawaii burning, right? And now the aftermath of those horrific fires. So President Biden is set to visit Maui today. So the Hawaiian, these fires that took place on Maui, they were actually the deadliest wildfires in modern U.S. history. So now what lawmakers and climate groups are doing, they are urging the White House to do more to prevent such future disasters from taking place. And they are calling, so there's lots of climate activists and members of Congress who are calling on President Biden to declare a national emergency over climate change. There is one person who the author of the article spoke to here, and so her name is Kaniela Ing. She's a 7th-generation indigenous Hawaiian, and she says that the time is now. If the U.S. is to call such a state of national emergency, now is the last moment to do so. Because not only Hawaii, right, but we also see there are fires in Washington State on the West Coast. There is a first tropical storm in the state of California, which is also a first because we haven't had one of those in around 80 years. So there's a lot of freak weather anomalies that are taking place, and people are calling on the president that now is the time to do something and to invoke emergency powers. However, the author also points out here that that might be something that might be risky for the president, given the fact that he plans on running in the 2024 elections. So we're going to have to wait and see as to what President Biden does.
That's right, and it would be a very sticky issue as far as Republicans are concerned as well. Alex Sumlinska, thank you very much for a summary of those stories this morning. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And now we're moving on, and it's time for us to look at the most important stories of the last 24 hours.
South African President Cyril Ramaphosa hosts a leaders' summit with Russian dictator Vladimir Putin, participating remotely due to the International Criminal Court's arrest warrant issued against him earlier this year. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov will be representing Vladimir Putin in person. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky addresses parliament, and Denmark's parliament speaker Soren Gade makes joint remarks with Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen. Zelensky is also expected to meet with the Danish...
Wait, stop.
South African President Cyril Ramaphosa hosts a leaders' summit with Russian dictator Vladimir Putin, participating remotely due to the International Criminal Court's arrest warrant issued against him earlier this year. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov will be representing Vladimir Putin.
He couldn't come!
Ukrainian President Volodymyr
Piece of
Zelensky
shit
addresses
couldn't come.
parliament, and Denmark's parliament speaker Soren Gade makes joint remarks with Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen. Zelensky is also expected to meet with the Danish Queen at the palace in Copenhagen.
Dude, until the last, people were debating whether he's going to come there, and he didn't.
Briefing on the Middle East with a focus on Israel and Palestinian territories.
Nice. Nice. Fucking coward, bro. BRICS unity breaking the West, indeed. He couldn't come. He couldn't come to a BRICS fucking summit. What do you mean Balkan level gore? Holy shit. Is what the hell? What the actual fuck? India? Yeah, India has. To be fair, Russia had its time previously, but now it failed, so that's good. Look, I was happy to see them crash, okay? I saw the news about them crashing into the moon. I was like, yay. And considering the fact that many Vatniks were cheering for it before they sent the shit to the moon, their little rebel representative, I was so happy. Best news we could have gotten, my dude. Best news we could have gotten. TASS reported on the news as if how was it? It landed softly on the surface or something like that. Like no. Women paraded around naked and then beaten. What the fuck? Tired? Yeah. I did a thing where I haven't slept at all last week. So this weekend, I was like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna get the extra hours of sleeping that I miss. And it has turned out to be an interesting decision. Like, I'm operating on a better scale, but it feels weird. There's something weird. I don't know. I actually, unironically, I need to find out if there's like some researches on how this shit cognitively impairs you, because this is just weird. Having a chaos sleep schedule, I don't know. I had chaos sleep schedule before, and it's never felt as chaotic as it does now when I'm forced to stay in, how would I say it, planned schedule. Maybe Russians heard there was a children's hospital on the moon. Oh shit. Ukrainian refugee neighbors, hey! No objectifying refugees, but holy shit, nice, it's fucking great. I hope they'll feel welcome, and I hope they will have a great time wherever you are, and I hope, I don't know, I hope it's going to be relatively easy for them. I know, I used to know actually one refugee who was here. I don't know where he is right now because he left. We are having a new one in the village as far as I know, but people have came to talk to me like, oh, you're learning Ukrainian on Duolingo? There's a new refugee in the village. Maybe you want to like speak to them to make them feel more welcome. And I was like, okay, fair enough. And they go, oh yeah, but like we're not sure if he is Russian or Ukrainian, but like he'll probably be able to understand anyways. And I was like, quite a interesting way to confuse the two. But okay, fair enough. So yeah, I still don't know which one it is. I'm hoping it's in Ukrainian, because I'm hoping Russians won't feel welcome around here. Resentment and affirmative action plans enjoyed by one minority, which the other minority doesn't have. So it's like it's minorities fighting each other? Or it's minority fighting against the majority, which doesn't give them the rights as other minorities have? Is it like one of those divide and conquer situations, or is it one of those situations where they're actually raising up against someone who did, don't want to say betray them, I don't know if that's a word, let them down, maybe that. Oh, if you have good links, yeah, I would be interested to learn more. I know nothing about it, genuinely nothing. All Ukrainian refugees speak Russian? Have not heard a single one who speaks Ukrainian or English. Oh, I've heard, actually, like, every person I've talked to has spoken English. When it comes to foreigners, I have heard few people speaking Ukrainian, but I only know they were speaking Ukrainian because my mother has been learning Russian during Yugoslavia, and she notices the difference. Personally, like, it's very hard for me to understand either in the first place. I can kind of catch some words that I figured Ukrainian has and Russian doesn't, for example, or like differences in, how would I say it? Differences in certain letters pronunciation, stuff like that, right? But so far I have mostly relied on her when it comes to hearing the language in public. One minority fighting another minority. Oh shit. Oh damn, yeah, that's fucked then. That is fucked. Hey, your lord. That is just weird. Because I know a lot of Ukrainian refugees. When we had... what the fuck was that? We had like... Osijek Cultural Center had some sort of an exchange basically. But they had few Ukrainians here who were like... you know, it was like supposed to be, I think, a cultural travel or something. I'm not really sure what the event was. I know it was organized around the same time as that Ukrainian elementary school kids who were visiting Europe, and a bunch of them also came to Osijek, so I'm guessing it was like something related. I don't know too much about the history, but I do know that they had a panel. Is it a panel? I don't know, like when you go to speak in front of people, they had it at the book fair thing. So we had book fair in the city, and I was there specifically when the Ukraine event was happening, because I wanted to, you know, hear what Ukrainian community was talking about in the city. And a lot of them were talking about how most of them were speaking Russian previously, but they switched from the start of the invasion. They like chose to switch to Ukrainian, and it was like this woman specifically speaks about how like interesting it was for her, because she always knew Ukrainian but she didn't like speak it casually, so it took actual effort to remind herself to speak Ukrainian even in casual speech. But like she switched, and they all switched, and they're all now just speaking Ukrainian, and I thought that was kind of, you know, I thought it made sense. I think it made sense. I think it very much resembles the Yugoslavia crumbling situation, where a lot of our elders spoke Serbo-Croatian, and then the invasion of Croatia happened, and then they switched, and they chose to switch to Croatian, right? Even though most of them spoke Serbo-Croatian, and I know Serbian and Croatian are more similar than Ukrainian and Russian, right? But they were speaking Serbo-Croatian, they chose to switch. And even now, sometimes in their speech, you like hear a little bit of a leftover, but they chose to switch. So I thought that was interesting. What do you mean, them raiding both Russian and Ukrainian churches? Local free English class? I met 4 Ukrainians. 2 had good English already, but the other 2 did not. Only one spoke Ukrainian. Oh, damn. Oh, that is so sad. That is so sad. The language of the country being cast aside by the imperial power you have next to you, just like that. It's like when you think of Belarus, right? Man, Lukashenko can't even speak his language properly. He had first speech in Belarusian in, I think it was 2014. I was just looking into it recently because on Topsen stream we started a conversation about it, and then I went to Google it a bit more. 2014, Lukashenko had a little bit of beef with Putin. So in 2014 he held the first speech in Belarusian and not in Russian. 2014, when he did a speech in Belarusian, his language proficiency was so bad that Belarusians made fun of him. And then they started making memes about how for the entirety of his rule, he was only speaking Russian. Now, for the first time, he chooses to speak Belarusian and we mock him. Now we're gonna have to wait another 20 years for him to start speaking Belarusian again. So like next time when he tries to do it, we shouldn't be mocking him, we should welcome him, right? It's such a sad fucking thing. It's such a sad thing. Bro, you did. Nah, getting your information from like random ass videos is ridiculous. So many of these things have not been geo-confirmed. Unless you have geo-confirmed sources, it's a different thing. But so many of them have not been geo-confirmed. So many of them are just videos pulled out of someone's ass. It reminds me of those videos that people claim are of soldiers being forcibly recruited on the streets of Ukraine. And then every few weeks we get a new one of them being debunked because someone finally figures out where the source was, and it's like years old videos, or it's videos of arrests or something. It doesn't even have to do anything to do with military recruitment. Videos, yeah. What you need to have is evidence that something like this is happening systemically, right? So like, was it ordered by officials? Are the officials saying that they want to do this? Are the soldiers saying that they want to go and raid churches? Why the fuck would they go raid their own churches? What would be the point of them raiding their own churches? Did you fall for that Tucker Carlson idea that Ukrainians are fighting against orthodoxy, despite the fact that Ukrainians are Orthodox? E. Biden spoke English with a super heavy Irish accent. And then also he was saying that actual English without the accent, that English is the language of the peasants, and that it's embarrassing to hear it spoken, and instead of speaking English you should be speaking Irish. It's, you know, it's like sad, just fucking sad. I'm Serbian. Yeah, I guessed from the fact you believe Ukrainian soldiers are raiding Russian and Ukrainian soldiers. It's a tiny group of people who believe in that in 2023. It's like Serb, Russian, Irish. Oh fuck, I really want to say Australian. I really want to say Australian, but it feels too pokey, but I want to say it. And tanky. Ooh, Hungarian. Almost forgot about Hungarians, true. Bosses have not sent it yet? Wait, you paid for it already? Holy shit. Oh, the churches in Russia are allegedly getting raided. I guess they mean about Ukrainian Orthodox Church, Moscow Patriarchy. The difference between Russian and Ukrainian Church is that Russian Church refers to the church being controlled by Moscow Patriarchy under Patriarch Kirill, who is a KGB agent, by the way. So Zelensky had every right to be very, very careful when it comes to this man's influence in Ukraine. This is mostly what people refer to when they say Russian church in Ukraine. This is also what people like Tucker Carlson refer to when they say Ukraine is banning Russian religion. Ukraine is fighting Christianity or whatever. Ukraine is not. It's a stupid ass claim. The only thing they are fighting are Russian propagandist hidden in the Moscow patriarchy, which is absolutely okay. Like, this piece of shit is KGB. He's a tool of propaganda. He's a tool of the genocidal regime. That's it. Bro, again, forming your views from videos is ridiculous. Forming your opinions from random ass videos online is ridiculous. That's like a child's level of thinking about what goes on in the world. Guy looks like a toddler. Photoshopped his luxury watch away. Oh, and then he forgot. Was he the one who forgot to like Photoshop away the reflection, or was that another one? Because that's what comes to my mind. Criticism. Yeah, he is KGB. He is KGB. Yeah, it's him. It's him with the watch. They photoshopped the watch away, but not the reflection of the watch. Hickey, you have to get ready for work. I'm so sorry. I hope you're okay. I hope you're okay. I finished work just a few hours ago, so so officials associated with Moscow Patriarchate airbrushed the watch, but not its reflection on the table. Kirill claimed that the watch had been doctored into the image. Kirill later admitted that he did in fact own the watch. GG. GG. Okay, to look at videos, but videos can never be the source. It'd be like if I spammed the Russia Wikipedia page when we were talking about the invasion. Yeah, it's like I don't know, Maria Lvova-Belova comes to mind, right? There's a video of her where she admits that she is taking the biggest batch of children from Ukraine to Russia, right? But if you're having a conversation about Maria, you wouldn't present that video as the main evidence. You would present the transcript of her official speech with Putin on Kremlin website, in which they talk about them bringing children from Ukraine over and then giving them to Russian families. You would present the law that Putin has signed, which allows for Russian families to have a quicker way to adopt Ukrainian children, right? You would present that as the actual evidence. The video of her talking about it, just like the Vice interview, for example, it's like the extra. It's the extra little thing. But if you only had the Vice interview, or if you only had the video of her standing in front of the plane, you wouldn't really have enough of an evidence, I think, especially when it comes to ideas that have no other proof of being real than just random ass videos. Ah yeah, Serbia is having problems with the president because he likes bending over for Russia. That is true, that is true. Hope it doesn't lead to general distrust. Internet sources? I feel it does already. I feel we're already fucked. Like we are already messed up when it comes to that. It's going to be really, really hard to fix the current situation. I know that Destiny like very often talks about the fact that people are losing trust in institutions and how he feels that's a problem. I find it very interesting how like concerned of an outlook he has on it. Definitely a proper way to look at things, definitely. Bro, if you're going into politics, how are you presenting random ass videos as your main source? You wanna be a populist or something? Because like what's the other? That's not really any sort of improvement over Vučić and the gang. Anyone whose main message is trust only me, everyone else is lying to you, is the real riot. Yeah, that's true, that's true. People trust random people on TikTok, more than century-old institutions. Yeah. And like, how do you even fix that? What do you even do about it? You can't do shit about it. There's nothing we really can do. Going into politics in Russia. So it looks like he will be very successful. Oh, I mean, how hard is it? You just gotta, you know, make Putin happy enough, and that's it, isn't it? That's the whole thing. Wait, what did I want to show you? Fuck, what did I want to show you? What did I want to show you? Hey, I had few things saved. Now, do I want to go through Vlad Vexler? I had one on the internet. And also I had one on Telegram. Which is kind of related, and I have to show you these. But also I have news saved, and I have news saved on Russians bitching about... not really bitching, but mostly fighting against fishermen in Norway and then in Ireland. And then also I have a news source on Montenegro having a laziness competition. So I'm kind of hyped about that, okay? I just need to let you know, because I'm going to forget later. It seems troublesome because institutions are much more hard to be affected by biases than individual people. What do you even do about that, though? That fucking sucks. What do you do about that? Montenegro got rid of that president? I don't think Serbian president necessarily is a president Serbs would want to get rid of. When it comes to the majority, I don't really have a good opinion on Serbian political views recently. I feel like an institution is just a few good leaders away from regaining trust. Oh, wait, have we seen any institution which managed to regain trust that way? Have we seen any institution where the level of trust is actually higher than what it used to be? Because I'm very negative of this, but I don't know if I'm negative because I don't know enough, or if I'm negative because I genuinely can't comprehend the way in which anything of this is going to be solved. I do feel like a big part of helping is, for example, European Union, and how they are teaching people to get more involved, right? I feel that is a big way to help. It's kind of making institutions seem like they are closer to the people, and I feel in a part that is a big thing to do, because what populism very often does, it represents institutions as inherently remained from the people, right? So it's like we the people are down here, and then they, the institutions, the government, the whatever, they are up there, and there's a separation between us, and this breeds a level of mistrust. So I'm feeling that with encouraging more people to get politically active, encouraging more referendums, encouraging more people to take part in their local politics, I feel it's breaching this like type of a difference. And I feel with us getting closer and with learning how the institutions work, a lot of conspiracies will just be crushed from it. A lot of people trust language models like ChatGPT. So maybe an adapted version of these language models might become trustworthy news sources. Oh, make ChatGPT? Nice! Okay, that would make sense. I would guess that makes sense. Georgian Legion, what did they do? Georgian Legion. Oh shit, I saved this. Yeah. Heck yeah, look at all the replies. All the replies are people being like, yeah, I did this already. Heck yeah. Whoa. I need to get Georgian Legion flag. Holy crap. Look at these people. Man, oh man. Flip mine in Stockholm. Fucking deserved. Fucking deserved every single second of this. Political party that didn't have any real goals or beliefs. They kind of existed until they faded away into nothing. Oh, you mean like Živi in Croatia? But hey, talking about Serbia and the stupid ass president, he met Tucker Carlson. Yay! I haven't seen what Tucker is saying there. I do have one of the videos saved, so we may go through it. I don't know, I saw the man was there, I got pissed off. That was the extent of my thinking about this. Not taking a side is also a stupid opinion. There's no not taking a side in a war like this. This is a war where it's very clear who is the aggressor, and it's very clear which side is defending itself. Not taking a side means you have a dishonest way of approaching politics. There's no way for an honest person to not be taking a side in this war. Just absolutely no way. I was also someone who felt the institutions were not working for me. But once I got politically active, it's crazy how close we are to them. You might be into something that... Yeah, it's like... It kind of reminds me, I think, someone once made a comment on stream. I don't know who I was watching. But the conversation was about how like different political leanings of streamers exist. And it was like, damn, isn't it kind of weird that when you look at these live streamers, the ones who have the most normal opinions, the conversation was specifically on Dylan and how he is, you know, he was like the representation of people with normal political views. I think it was at the time that Dylan had made a claim that most people will just not start a revolution. You know, if you now go to represent your party in politics and your party official policy is we start a revolution and we kick down the system, most people will not support it because most people are GG with a system which is stable. Yeah, they're content. Yeah, they're not going to start a revolution. And someone has said that like it's very interesting that when you see people having these types of opinions, it's mostly people who are actually doing something. Like they're actually politically active, right? And then when you have people who are, you know, very radical, very extreme when it comes to their politics, it's usually people who are not doing shit. When you meet people who are calling for a revolution, it's very rarely people who genuinely are invested into politics. It's mostly people who don't even know how politics operates on a local level. Because the idea of them being separate from the institution, it remains in their heads because like they genuinely never tried to get into the institution. But if they wanted to, it would have been a lot different. One state governing election in which both parties' candidates were disqualified. Nice! Oh, nice. Almost impressive. US Congress bipartisan committees have searched for voter fraud for the last several decades and have been unable to find anything at all significant. Oh yeah, that too. I do trust. How to say it? I feel a lot of voter fraud accusations are just losing party being salty as fuck, and that's it. Especially when it comes to, you know, the USA situation right now. Because the observations, most people making the claims about voter fraud seem to not be the same people who ever actually worked on observing the elections or in any sort of electoral process. They don't really know how it works. I found that to be very, very interesting too. Like in Croatia, for example, we don't really go into it as much in a conspiracy way as many other countries do, USA thinking specifically. But we do have people talking about voter fraud every time there's an election, of course. And it's interesting that, you know, they will be saying that, for example, they had a cousin who was working at the counting of votes in some nearby village, and then she would just like crumple all the papers with the actual votes and she would throw them into the trash, and she would fill out new papers with the votes for the list that she was paid by, and then she would put these papers into the box and send them. And then you're like, where were the other representatives? Because every single party which is on the ballot is supposed to have a representative there sitting to observe the voting. Where were all the other representatives? Were they all paid? Were they paid more by this one party than they were paid by their own party to count the votes properly? And they never know. None of them know how this works. None of them were ever actually involved. They just know to make up stupid ass conspiracy theories. GOP doesn't like it because the extremists who have largely taken over can't attract enough votes on their own, because most people are not extreme. Ah, that too. What's this? Estonia? Oh yeah, is that UN worrying about it? UN can suck me off. Fuck them for this. We're the same organization that congratulated us fucking Russian Language Day. They dare to act worried about this. They can get fucked in the ass. Just absolutely ridiculous. They expressed particular concern about how the new provisions could affect members of the Russian linguistic minority who make up a significant proportion of the country's population. They should be affecting members of Russian linguistic minority. That thing also pisses me the hell off. The fact we are pretending as if it doesn't matter how Russians came to these lands and why there's a significant proportion of them in the country's population. Just, come on. Yeah. And the stereotype of war criminals? Wait, Serbs? I mean, Serbia did protect a lot of war criminals. I think that's kind of the, how do I say it? I think the stereotype, and I do support the stereotype, by the way. I was trying to find a nice way to say it, but I don't know how to find a nice way to say it. I support the stereotype. Serbia is a country which has, it had Mladic murals around until like a few months ago. The war criminal slut has her own TV show. You have a literal war criminal on your TV, having a Kardashian-like TV show. Of course there's a stereotype of you being war criminals. That's ridiculous. Stuff like that is laughable. Exit Festival had a DJ who is a war criminal, who was fighting around with Arkan's people. Of course there's a stereotype of you people being war criminals. The war criminal slut, yeah, Tsetsa. She can fuck herself. When she dies, I'm gonna go and piss in her grave. But Serbs have a huge glorification of that woman. Sometimes, it doesn't happen to me too often because I don't make new accounts regularly. But recently, for example, I made a new Instagram account. And when you go into local recommended accounts, she's there. Tsetsa, a fucking war criminal. A war criminal. Tsetsa got to celebrity status because she was a slut who chose to sleep with Arkan, the war criminal. It's like, imagine, you know those cheap-looking Russian influencers? What's the name of that Ukrainian dude who makes like a whole zombie stories thing of them on YouTube? Imagine one of those like cheap-looking trash women from Russia, one of those, you know, you can buy her to lick your balls for $2 an hour. Imagine you get one of these and she goes and she fucks Prigozhin. And then imagine 20 years later, Russians still make TV shows celebrating this woman. That's the extent of Serb society, okay? Fucking laughable. So, you know, the stereotype exists, and I'm GG with the stereotype. I think as long as people like that are allowed to have any sort of prominence around, of course you're gonna be having the stereotype. Did you stereotype you're fascist? Yeah, that's true. I think Croatia deserves a fascist stereotype. We have a lot of football fans who are very extreme in their beliefs. We still have political parties which are very nationalistic. We deserve the fascist stereotype. It's a problem of our society, absolutely. The difference between us two is that I'm willing to accept it. I'm willing to say, yes, my country has issues, my society has issues, and we need to work on fixing that. I think Estonia is Russia, just occupied by Estonians at the moment. Yeah, that's kind of what it feels like. That is what it feels like. One Ukrainian journalist is wanted to Russia as extremist and terrorist. What? Okay, to be fair, because I guess to be wanted in Russia as extremist and terrorist, all you need to do is be like, oh yeah, Putin's a little bitch. Putin's a little cock-sucking piece of shit. Immediately, like there's an arrest warrant for you issued in Moscow. Yeah, it's, I don't have any doubt for that. Tito, I have interesting opinions of Tito. I think he's a very controversial figure, but I think it's very, very interesting to talk about him. There's a lot of strong views, both for and against Tito, in Balkans, but also outside the Balkans. So I think it's interesting to have conversations about him. Personally, yeah. He did give us peace for a while, so I see the value of that. At the same time, he did... I want to say he caused Yugoslavia to collapse. He did cause Yugoslavia to collapse. I don't think there was a possibility that Yugoslavia is gonna keep standing after he dies, and I think he knew about it. He just didn't really care. He was like, yeah, whatever happens after I die, happens after I die. I won't care about it anymore. So, I'm like... Okay, yeah, but like Ukrainians are currently being attacked, so it's okay. While Croatia was being attacked, we also were like, yeah, we're, you know, fucking fascist. And we're GG with that. We celebrated Thompson, everyone. I think while your country is going through some horrible events, stuff like that is, you know, excusable. Once you get out, it's like, Forget Thompson. Yeah, Thompson. He had some interesting songs, but he also had some really, really hateful ones, you know? Military play in Poland, 223, bro. You don't have it? Ah, that's big. That's fair. That's fair. Typical orcs. Fuck, is this going to be... I'm scared of clicking on it. Is it going to be about that girl? No, I thought it was gonna be... Have you seen them on Telegram? Pieces of shit. They're making fun of that girl that they killed. 2 mayors, they posted 2 videos of what they claim to be failed Ukrainian attacks in Zaporizhia. These videos were geolocated. Hey, yeah, Slippers! Thank you!
Slippers just subscribed with Prime. Gebane Kakapi won't take away.
Gebane Kakapi. Gebane Kakapi, he goes. Needs to make him longer. Gebane Kakapi. Mykolaiv. Which means they're from last year. Look, if they're posting old videos, you know they're getting fucked in the ass, okay? If they're posting old videos, you know we're doing well right now, okay? So, 3,000 people who love the king. Are you referring to Chetniks? People whose entire point of existence was killing around. 90s war? Yeah, sure. I do think we could have escaped it if the 14th Congress of Yugoslav Communists went a bit different direction. Basically, my opinion is that if Slovenia ever in their existence is a tiny little useless country, if they ever had a chance to do something greater than themselves, it was in the last summit, when they could have just gone in and shot Milosevic right there and then. It would have been such a huge-ass movement, dude. It would have been a humongous balls move. It would have saved our countries. Oh yeah, partisans also killed a lot of ours. In Bleiburg. That is true. It was, though. I'm 50-50 on those war crimes being how do I say it? Do I want to say talked about without additional insight into it? Hey yo, Casey, how's life going? Hey yo, hey yo, hey yo, you were playing politics. What did you talk about? What did you talk about? We are what are we watching currently? Finland cutting aid to African countries supporting Russian war in Ukraine. Ha! Fucking based, by the way. If we did this to Serbia before, they would have known at the point what is their biggest ally, okay? They still think Russia is their biggest ally because they have no idea how the world works, okay? If we were like, hey, Serbia, you think Russia is your biggest ally? Okay, GG, good. We're stopping the trade. It would have been so easy. It would have been so easy. It would have taken them a week. A fucking week. To figure out who's actually been supporting them and who's a worthless shithole. But no. No, we gotta keep supporting them anyways. Howdy, partner. Do not discuss politics, LGBT, religion, and everything else. Ukrainian free speech. Please do not Nazi salute if possible. Yeah, again, like, man. It reminds me so much of, like, how people talk about stuff that was happening here, because like Thompson, for example, he had some horrible songs, my man. Thompson had some horrible shit songs. I don't even think we went into that man enough. But Thompson has this one song about concentration camps that Croatian Ustaša had in World War II, in which plenty of Serbs were killed. And it's kind of interesting how when people talk about Thompson today, they bring up these songs as criticism, and how many people you will have being like, oh yeah, well that was war, that was different. Like, he was allowed to sing about concentration camps because that was war, so it was different, you know? It's like, I see, but still like, Econ research, why? Billions of dollars to Africa and nothing has ever changed? Wanna send the money? You could, I think. Developing infrastructure takes a very, very long time. Plus, I do think that countries with the ability to help, I think they should. You know? I think it's like with USA now, you know? I think that countries which do have ability to help, like USA has the ability to help Ukraine right now, I think they should have the obligation to do so. Almost like morally, you know, I would want people to be against their country not doing shit. I want to know. I want to see why we wouldn't be helping, or at least attempting to help in some way. There was some poll on the internet, and it was what Russians say is most offensive. 1% was banderids, 3% was fascist, 2% was something else. All other 90% was brotherly nation. Oh shit, I say that. I say that. Because they use that one to actually, to pretend to still want peace, isn't it? Oh yeah, I feel like US should be obliged though. I feel like every country which has the ability to help should be obliged to help. Also including, of course, European Union countries, because a lot of us have collected a lot of cash over getting cheap Russian resources for the past decades. So I feel like we should be obliged to help too, you know. I feel we should be obliged to help if we are able to help, definitely. Your family fought in 90s? GG, my family was butchered in 90s. So, talking about that stereotype of Serbs being war criminals, I still stand behind supporting it. 19, a goddamn kid. Is a Grisha? No, what's Grisha? Grisha's like 15, isn't it? World needs to recognize... Oh shit, this. I thought this was the post you sent. As history showed, a fascist country can only be stopped with a united force of the free world. They're making fun of a kid they killed. $17. What do they always send abroad? Russia? They can't send Moscows. Plus, you can pay, even if you get summoned, you can pay not to be put on the front lines. It's been a problem in the military for a while. Their captured people talk about how their family sends them money while they're in the military. You can pay to not be on the front lines. So usually people on the front lines are people who can't afford to pay. But also they are mobilizing disproportionately more from the poor republics of Russia than they are mobilizing from, for example, Moscow or St. Petersburg. This is because Moscow and St. Petersburg are the supporters of the regime in Russia. They can't make Moscow and St. Petersburg angry, right? Because if the regime makes the towns angry, there's a real chance of, even though I don't really think the Russians would rebel at any point. Bro, Ukraine isn't getting money, Ukraine is getting military aid, like HIMARS and shit. Hawaii would not be helped if they get some shells around. This is an old conversation. You had weeks to learn about this. Do you not know how the aid goes to Ukraine? Because it's not sent as actual bags of cash. It's sent as actual equipment. Most of the equipment, which is stuff that USA wanted to get rid of anyways. No, it's not just wrong. Most of the help is sent as equipment. You can very easily look this up. So, you know. Load-bearing pillars of the Russian Federation? Yeah. So they can't afford to send people from that. They have to be sending people from the republics, and people in the republics are very poor because Russian Federation is not a normal country, as one would imagine it. Russian Federation could be described more as a wannabe empire, with Moscow and St. Pete effectively colonizing the republics around them. If you look into these republics, you will find that plenty of them have an enormous amount of resources to extract, and they are being extracted, but the republics are getting nothing from it. They're getting absolutely nothing from it. Some of them don't have gas. Republics of Russia, they don't have gas. Not even to mention the entirety of the thing with them lacking toilets and lacking roads and stuff like that, you know? It's for the strength of the country, for the possible power of the country, they are doing horribly. And they are doing horribly because they choose to be an imperialist shithole. No, US is not forgetting its own country. That's bullshit. Also, Zelensky is he was a very famous comedian before he got into politics, my dude. He was very strong in the entertainment industry, okay? The fact that man has riches, has personal riches, is not suspicious at all. If we want to talk about the suspiciousness of personal riches, we could talk about Putin and the fact that the only job that man has had was being a KGB agent. But like being confused about Zelensky having, what, a vacation villa, whatever the hell? How is that confusing for you? Do you not know how popular the man was? His entire career is basically right there to see. Of course, he has some fancy-ass houses. He has a career. Yeah, how does a KGB agent have $1 billion mansion? That's an interesting question to ask. How much do you think KGB agents earn money? How much cash do you think they get? Not to mention it was his job while he was a kid, and even there he wasn't like a high-standing KGB agent or whatever the fuck. And then he became the president. He has just been the president for the last decades. You're not weirded out by that? You're not weirded out by the fact that he has been the president for decades? Just weird. I'm not sure you know how comedian scenes work, but like right now I could talk to you about Croatian actors and comedians who have mentions. There's nothing new about like Croatia is tiny when compared to Ukraine, right? And our actors and comedians have mentions, have like seaside humongous villas to chill in and stuff like that. It's not about anyone being worldwide famous. If you're famous enough in your own place, usually you will be earning a shitload of money. It's kind of weird that you expect for someone to be a millionaire, he has to be known in USA. That's an interesting way to look at the world. Just fucking weird. All those rich Croatians with mentions, basically Slovenes. That's two, my man, that's two, holy crap. No, just a weird conversation about mentions. Zelensky was a huge star. Thinking it's weird that he has a mention is laughable. Man's a celebrity. So yeah, I'm not really buying into that little supposed concern thing. Not even to mention that there's something really cheap about the way you people are looking at the world, with seeking out specific villains. I'm butthurt about Belgrade should have been bombed earlier. It reminds me of Victoria Nuland conversation. I feel Zelensky is kind of the victim of the same bullshit as Victoria Nuland is, in which people, like I've legit seen people blame Zelensky for this war. I've seen people say that Zelensky signed the Minsk deals. You know what I mean? It's like they want to find a villain, but they're not smart enough to actually look at the timeline. So they find the villain in the dumbest of places, like with Victoria Nuland, and they always claim that she installed a person in Ukrainian politics. And whenever you're like, okay, so how come this superior USA influence couldn't even install a person to last a whole term? Like, isn't that a bit weird to you? They don't know. They don't know, because they just imagine her as the villain, and that's it. They don't look past it. They need heroes, they need villains, that's it. It's very Disney mindset. Oh yeah, it's okay. It's okay for me, it's okay for me. I heard the alert and I was like, heh, lol. I don't have strong feelings on him. So yeah, I'm GG. It is slowing down the conversation, and we have to talk about shit, okay? We have to talk about a bunch of shit. But first, let me try. Oh fuck, I don't have my chat opened. Look, I'ma just open the thing for you, okay? I'ma just open the thing for you. Because I need to show you. Do I want to show you Montenegro or do I want to show you the fisherman? I want to show you the fisherman first, because we're on a Russia conversation, and then we're gonna go to this. Doesn't really matter who is the president in the Ukraine, as long as it's not Putin himself. Ukraine will be in danger of Russian attacks. He doesn't know how to deal with neighbors who are doing much better than he is, and that's it. Like, nothing else on this. He clearly knows he's wrong, but he's not moving on. It feels like it's... It feels like, for some reason, we've kind of normalized acting stupid online. Because so far, like, whenever I think about IRL reactions I had with people like that, usually it's easy to turn them around IRL. I don't know if you had these experiences. Have you, like, spoken to someone in real life about this? Because so far, whenever I've spoken to someone in real life about this, they are ready to concede points. You know, they are ready to accept your words. They are ready to, you know, if you tell them to look something up, they will look it up, for example. If you show them some links, they will save the links, stuff like that. It's interesting how in real life people seem more reasonable. Like, so far I've had conversations, for example, on whether Russia is bombing civilians in Ukraine. I think I mentioned this to you, right? When we had that refugee and people for a while were mocking her because she talked about her building being bombed, and people were like, oh, she's an attention seeker. Why would Putin bomb her building specifically? She doesn't even live near a military base or something. It's not like he would bomb a random civilian building. So for me, you know, but I found that when I had that conversation, for example, okay, I had the news saved, so maybe it's because I'm a fucking nerd, right? But I had news articles saved, I always look through them regularly, so I just kind of have access to them at every point. So we were having that conversation, and I had all the articles saved, and I had the videos of Russian propagandists, you know, speaking about how they want to be bombing civilian infrastructure in Ukraine. So you show stuff like that to a person, and they're like, oh, okay, this made me think. And it's interesting how it works IRL, but online, where they have the access to information right now, it doesn't. I don't know. Just fucking weird. It's like we normalize just accessing internet to act like you have no brain, and that's it. What about Tuzman? I don't really think about Tuzman too much, to be completely honest with you. When it comes to Vukovar, I solely blame Serbs for attacking Vukovar. I'm much more, how do I say this? I'm not the type of a person to be making excuses for war criminals. You know what I mean? I don't think an invasion and attempted ethnic cleansing can be excused by any sort of little political games. I think at that point where your tanks roll into another country, your officials know what they are doing, your soldiers know what they are doing. They were complicit. So yeah, fuck them for that. Yeah, GG with their little exhibition. GG with their little exhibition, my dude. They also had a whole, have you guys seen the Daria Dugina thing? They had a little thing with mourning Daria Dugina. So they're trying to still pretend as if they're not getting fucked in the ass. It's gonna last for a while. It's gonna last for a bit. I'm not sure how long it's gonna take for them to properly, fully admit all the shit that they've done. I remembered this video. I have to show you this video. This was new on Vorgonzo. But it feels like something's happening. Yeah, they had a thing for Dugina. They're mourning Dugina. She died like I think a year ago or something. Dugina. Shut the fuck up about Dugina. Who the fuck cares? Best swimming water quality. Thank you. Thank you very much, Cringelord. Thank you very much. Okay, we're trying very, very hard. We are attempting. We are, how do I say this? We're working very, very hard to keep our waters pure by banning Russians from coming to Croatia during holiday season. But yeah, it's kind of the only thing we have. Natural riches and corruption, so we gotta upkeep it. It's a tradition. These two.
К таким, как мы, относятся с уважением, не то что в Москве. Что очень
А в
печально.
метро едешь, вот если по форме люди сразу расходятся, фу, убийца там или еще что-то. Или как у нас любят то, что это, москвичи все такие, ну ты что, не
Bro,
мог
they held
отмазаться,
pro-Putin.
там, ну ладно, там, за
The fuck do you mean?
рубеж,
What sort of a stupid opinion that is if you are genuinely Serb? They painted Wagner murals. They held a pro-Putin rally. Serbia was the only country which had a rally in support of Putin. It's not just banning them because of their president. It's banning them because they are unironically a danger to your country's democracy. Just because of their president. But they're pieces of shit. Have you not seen the way they were acting in Serbia? Are you not seeing the way they are acting in any other country? Have you not seen them attacking Ukrainian refugees? Have you not seen them attempt to hold protests against Ukrainian refugees? Have you not seen them in Germany day before Nord Stream 2 got blown the fuck up? By the way, you fucking based. You were on that rally, then I assume. Then my entire question of like, are you an imbecile, has finally been answered. But it's not banning them just because of their president. They are pieces of shit just like he is. It's not like he is the sole representative of Russian shittiness and everyone else in the country is normal. They basically fuck everything they touch, so I don't know why we should be allowing them around.
губернии разные.
От этого противно.
Да, и вот этого противно, что вот.
Ну, то есть вы на своем
Especially now, to be
да?
fair, because Wagner people are, if they have been in prison, right, and then they got into Wagner, their crimes have been forgiven by the state officially, by Putin himself, which means that a Wagner fighter, after doing his 6 months of service, he can come to your country as a normal Russian citizen and you will not know. Just war criminals prancing around. Now for Serbia, that seems like a normal thing. Maybe you make another TV show about it. But you know, in most other countries, they hear of the idea of war criminals prancing around and they're like, do I want this? Do we feel safe like this? And the answer is no. You shouldn't feel safe about this. These are not safe people to be around. We've seen it already. They did crimes, bro. There's I'm kinda... I wish there were safer work sources on this, but there's been at least 2 reports from last week on Wagner fighters in Russia killing people after they got out of service. Quite graphic reports. In both cases, the Wagner people were in prison for killing people, and then they got recruited into Wagner, and then they did their 6 months, and now they're free people. So whenever you allow a Russian citizen in your country, whenever a Russian passport passes through your customs, there's a big possibility you have just allowed another war criminal in. You can't tell them apart. One of them right now is like chilling in Turkey. That's what we know. He's chilling in Turkey. We don't know where he's chilling. He's somewhere in Turkey because it was the one that Prigozhin talked about. The one who, he was a loan shark or something. And he ordered a murder of a 4-member family. Because of him ordering this murder, he was put in prison. And then he was recruited by Wagner. He did 6 months with Wagner. Then he went to Turkey. Like a man who has ordered a murder of a fucking family, including a kid. He's chilling in Turkey right now. What's the name of that one? That gulagu.net has allowed out of Russia, and then he wrote a book, and now he has an asylum in France. He has an apartment in France. He wrote a book. While he was writing the book, people were like, wow, look at this man, a Wagner fighter, but he chose to side with the West instead, and he ran away from Russia. How beautiful, what a heartwarming story. This man did not want to kill. And then he writes a book, and the main premise of the book is, yeah, I did some war crimes. It's, you know, it's what it is in a war. And now he has an apartment in France, and he's just chilling there. So yeah, whenever a Russian passport passes through your customs, there's a big chance that is what you are allowing in. No one's breaking a UN resolution. UN itself has confirmed that Kosovo trying to seek independence from Serbia does not break the resolution.
Ну, конечно, сам опыте, да, что просто вот люди смотрят на тебя и типа, опять же, я туда не добровольцем, мне вот пришла бумажка, я пошел по бумажке, я не убежал, как ты, я не спрятался там, не скрысил, я пошел, да, вот как закон послушный гражданин. Я приезжаю в отпуск, и на меня еще пальцем тычут, типа, ай-яй-яй, как нехорошо там.
Когда я уехал в Новосибирск,
So yeah, let's hope they get hated enough to not want to go in the first place, which I'm not really seeing. Also, Anastasia using the best fucking memes existing. First cares about you and got shit on. No, he says it's bullshit. It's like I talked to a friend on Saturday about this. It was on how UN did not recognize Holodomor yet. And he's like, yeah, UN doesn't recognize Holodomor, UN doesn't recognize Holodomor. And then we're talking about USA, and he goes into like full whataboutism with like, oh yeah, well, USA actions in Libya and Afghanistan. And I'm like, okay, how did UN react in those situations? Because in Libya specifically, for example, UN has confirmed the intervention. It was a UN mandate that it was done on. It's like, how do you feel about that? And then he goes, yeah, oh yeah, UN ain't shit. So like, yeah, okay, UN ain't shit when UN says something you disagree with, but UN is everything when it says something you do agree with. How stupid is that opinion? Just, what sort of a brain power? Do UN resolutions matter or do they not matter? Makes no sense to have the opinion that they are important and then at the same time to have the opinion that they are not important. It's not how we should be doing. By the way, I've saved this in the news. You have to watch this. Look at this. The most beautiful thing you will see today. Look at this thing. A nuclear bomb of Russian Federation has gone kaboom. Just how gorgeous does it burn? Holy, this is like that smoke from Moscow. You remember the smoke from Moscow and how gorgeous it was when it went up? This is like that, just maybe even better. Someone's smoking again? Oh, give me a sec. Why would I tell you Palestine is bad? Why would I tell you Palestine is bad? What does that have to do with anything? What does that have to do with anything? Victoria? Yeah, my name is Victoria. My name is Victoria. The entirety of the name. What did you think Vicky is short for? You thought my name was Vicky? Like my legal name? Ah, fuck. Russian explosion tier list 1. This one first. This one because important thing burned and also important thing burned beautifully. Second place that Moscow one. Yeah, who is saying that Palestinian kids are terrorists? No one here is saying that. You're fighting against, according to some people. Go talk to some people then. I don't know why you're coming here bitching about people who are not present. If you want to have a conversation, have conversation with people who have these opinions, not being like some people are saying. That's a very easy straw man to set up for yourself, you know? I was scared I'm gonna see something not safe for work. What was that image? Of like huge, oh, not this one. Oh, but this one too, though. That one. Pinto? There's a man here. Bro. my man. We have a dude here whose name is Svemir, which means universe. Like the cutest thing ever. His name is literally the universe. Come on. How cool is that? How fucking cool is that? But yeah, Spicy, the fuck are you doing? Like, I don't know if you've ever had a single normal contribution to the stream. Sometimes I look at Spicy's messages in chat and I'm like, why are we allowing this dude in? Like, has he had a single stream in which he said something normal? This is what I was looking for. This is what I was looking for. Look at this. Come on. Is this not the most beautiful thing you've seen? First place. Yeah, except show me the Look at this. Man, oh man, was this strong. Yeah, it was huge. It was huge. I wanna, part of me wants to place this one as like the best one. Because there's some images of this smoke and it's gorgeous. But also, look at this. But nothing too important burnt on it, you know? So I feel that's why I don't want to... I don't want to place it as the first one, you know? Because like, as much as it was humongous, it didn't do too many things, you know? See? Like, it looks cool. Look at this thing. It looks really, really cool. But as far as I figure out, nothing too important burned. So I would place, look at this shit. The planes burning as, like, better. Because it's actually going to have a big effect on Russian military capabilities, right? And that's what we want. Hey, yo, DB, how's life? How is life going? Oh, also Navalny. I have to show you news about Navalny that I've saved. I saved the whole thread on Navalny. Navalny has called Russians to vote on the next Russian elections. Check this out. Navalny called Russians to vote in all 40 regions of Russia. Now you may go, what is sus about that, Vicky? Why is it weird that Navalny wants every single Russian to vote? It's because when he says 40, he means the 4 regions of Ukraine that Russia has annexed. Navalny is recognizing Russian annexations of Ukrainian territory. You've been normal? No, you haven't. you haven't had a normal stream at all. It was just chaos. Like, weren't you on the last one asking to put up a flag of that extremist group thinking all Arabs are terrorists? No, you weren't. No, you weren't. As far as representation comes, you're doing a horrible job for your people. And this comes like after you've had weeks of just being quite weird about basically every single other topic that we have touched on. So, Where did I have the thing? Where did I have the thing? No, I can open this channel page. I don't want to open the channel page. I want to open the thing with like seeing the messages. Because I'm pretty sure you were the one here who was like really, really weird about dating too. You know what I could do? I could just like do this. I could just do this. I could just like go balls in. Not in a racist way. Yeah, it's okay. See, this bitch still here. It's okay to be weird in a nice, friendly, GG way. That's okay. That's acceptable. That is fine with me. You go here. And then you go here, and then you go here, And then what you do is, it's like, oh shit, female supremacy, I forgot about that one. Oh yeah, is this an 18 plus stream? Yeah, that was also fucking weird. I can't be with you even if I donate. That was you, my dude. That was you, all of that was you. Domestic violence against men. I would like to see that with younger men, older women. My man, you were fucking weird. You were fucking weird. I thought your claim was Vladimir Putin was defending traditional family values, or not? It says in the tweet it should be defined so that domestic abuse against males is impossible. Why do you support that? You were weird from the start, my dude. You were fucking weird from the start. You did have streams where you claimed that you are going to stop being weird. I don't know how to say it nicely, but I feel like those ideas of yours had a varying level of success. And when I say a varying level of success, I mean the level of success was between 0 and 1. Just genuinely. Just a fucking chaotic chatter. You're a fucking chaotic chatter. That's what you are. Jesus liked what he's saying. What? Hey, the Navalny. I have to talk to you about Navalny. Okay, this is Navalny. You gotta talk about Navalny. Yeah, he has recognized the 40 regions of Russia, because that also counts in the regions that Russia has supposedly occupied. But also important thing about Navalny, okay, is that he has this idea of smart voting strategy. And smart voting strategy is that Navalny basically tells you to vote for anyone who is not Putin. Of course it's weird, bro. We told you multiple times it's weird, okay? You asking whether it's weird is just you pretending to give a shit. You don't give a shit. We told you a bunch of times it's weird. If you cared about what people are saying about it, you wouldn't be asking. Yeah, the smart voting is any party except of United Russia. And then the strategy gave votes to communists and just Russia, who immediately voted for war and for genocide. It's one of those things, you know, like vote for lesser trash. So you don't actually give people a proper alternative to vote for, you just tell them vote for anyone who is not the party that you want to lose. And what it creates is a pieces of shit getting into your parliament. So, yeah. Maybe don't do that. Maybe smart voting isn't so smart, but it is, you know, Navalny. Technically. We don't know if it's Navalny pushing for it. Smart voting strategy, while it has been encouraged by Navalny, we don't know who owns Navalny's Twitter account. We don't really know who's controlling it. We don't know who's writing on it. People have been questioning it very, very regularly. You know, the whole thing with him being in super ultra secret safe prison. And then he's able to tweet. Why is he able to tweet? Isn't it weird he's able to tweet? Some people are making theories about how he's able to get the word out to his lawyers so that they can tweet in his name. Other people are claiming it's the Navalny Fund actually tweeting in his name. Then some other people are claiming that he does have an access to a phone, as long as he doesn't tweet anything too controversial. Overall, we don't really know. We don't really know what Navalny is doing and whose words we are seeing on his Twitter account, but he is supporting Russian annexation, supposed annexation of 4 regions of Ukraine. So that's what you need to know about him right now. And then, talking about people supporting Russian annexation, a Serb singer has been denied access to Moldova, and Goran Bregovic, he has been denied access to Moldova because he supports Russian invasion on Ukraine. So actually great piece of news. Serbs of course are pissed off about this because they are Serbs, and you know, if they weren't crying about something, what would they be doing? So they are requesting an explanation for denying entry to Bregovic, as if good enough explanation isn't just, hey, your man is supporting Russian invasion on Ukraine. Like, that's a good enough reason to ban him from any single event ever in the future. What more of an explanation do you need for that? But yeah, I am wondering how Moldovan authorities are going to respond. I'm also wondering when Serbs will stop crying about everyone hating them and actually, look into their own stupid ass actions. And then I'll say this because it's on Tucker Carlson in Budapest with Vucic. He's meeting Vucic. He's chilling around with Vucic. So, ha ha ha.
To meet with the president of Serbia, who is in town. Serbia has the distinction of being one of the countries in the region that's been bombed by NATO.
Ooh.
So I think he's got an interesting perspective on what's happening in Ukraine, the NATO war against Russia, that is worth hearing, we think. And he's a smart guy, apparently.
Okay, you're gonna see today, I have ministers here that wanted to make something with you. Just like, please.
Thank you.
Please, you're very welcome.
Hey,
Just very good seeing you.
Nice to meet you. Thank you. Nice to meet you.
As you can see, all of them wanted to meet you.
Mama.
Waiting in a queue. This is our ambassador to Hungary.
Hey, Tucker Carlson.
And this is, and his son is your biggest fan in
My oldest son is
Serbia.
your biggest fan, sir.
How old is he?
17, believe it.
The biggest fan. I'm Minister of Sport.
Hello, Tucker. I'm glad to meet you.
You made for sports. I'm the minister of
One of the first things you will learn about me is that my son is an imbecile.
You are the ministers, I'm nobody.
Yes. You're the one.
Thank you. Oh, this is so nice.
Then you can eat, we're gonna see there, then you can come to eat.
I love it.
Good. With another minister, sorry.
What sports did you play? Really?
Volleyball.
I'm impressed.
He is the most famous volleyball coach almost in an entire world. He won world championship
That's a hard sport.
competition.
Famous volleyball coach is an interesting thing to say. They love how they brought like the most famous of Serbs to meet him. The Scott guy rotting in prison the way he deserves. That's basically how I see it.
We just met with the president of
The
Serbia,
danger of that man was known previously. They did nothing to stop him from leaking documents.
States, very often. One of the points he made is that the war in Ukraine, the war against Russia led by NATO, has crushed the European economy. The destruction of Nord Stream by the Biden administration through proxies is killing the
By the way, kinda ironically. Hey Wallach, thank you for the subby, thank you. Thank you. Kinda funny that Vucic is claiming that see spicy, that's why you're fucking weird. Kinda weird Vucic is the one claiming that European economy is crumbling now because of the war, when it's his country, which is such a shithole, it can't pay living wages to people. And they have to run away to fucking Croatia to make a proper buck and to be able to earn enough to make a living, okay? It's his country right now dealing with a crisis. The same way it's Orban constantly bitching about how hard it is for Europeans who have had to sanction Russia, poor little people. But at the same time, he is the one who refused to sanction Russia, and he is the one right now wallowing in shit. And there's something ironic about the fact that they both are choosing to exist in this sort of a way, without seeing how utterly stupid their actions are. RIP Discord, dude. I didn't say anything about dating. Bro, it's not just dating that you're being weird on. Like being like, oh, should I avoid trying to bribe CIA officials?
German economy. The German economy is the largest economy in Europe by far.
German economy is doing
Downstream effects
well.
Of that, one NATO country effectively attacking another NATO country are felt throughout Europe.
What?
And that's crazy.
Did I miss this
Crazy.
conversation?
By far, through proxies, is killing the German economy. And the German economy is the largest economy in Europe by far. And so the downstream effects of that, one NATO country effectively attacking another NATO country, are felt throughout Europe. And
What does it mean, one NATO country attacking another NATO country? Am I fucking hallucinating? Kakartausen.
It's true.
Eh.
See ya.
Have a nice day.
We just met with the president of Serbia, who is advertised is smart and aware and has perspective that you don't get in the United States very often. One of the points he made is that the war in Ukraine, the war against Russia led by NATO, has crushed the European economy. The destruction of
Does he mean does he see it as like USA fighting Russia is causing issues for the entirety of Europe, which effectively means USA is like attacking Germany? I don't know what I'm missing here. I don't know if I'm like, if my brain has rotten in the last few minutes and if I'm absolutely unable to understand what he wants to say. Yeah, but like one NATO country.
One of the points he made is that the war in Ukraine, the war against Russia led by NATO, has crushed the European economy. The destruction of Nord Stream by the Biden administration, either directly or through proxies, is killing the German economy. And the German economy is the largest economy in Europe by far. And so the downstream effects of that, one NATO country effectively attacking another NATO country.
See that, like one NATO country effectively attacking another NATO country. There has been no NATO attack. Does he think that like Nord Stream was USA attacking Germany? Is that how he sees it? I don't know what he wants to say. Isn't that one big part of accelerationist ideology? The top secret information being leaked to the public will help lead to that information being used for intelligence destabilization. I don't know if you're aware that I called you weird because of your dumbass questions. Like, oh, I see. So I should avoid trying to bribe CIA or Pentagon officials and leaking secrets on Discord? Yeah. Because you had another stream in which you were also like very, very spammy with a similar type of a question, which also was very, very weird. You were called weird because of that. You were not called weird because of asking whether he is an accelerationist. Which territories would you change on NATO status? Belgorod. Yeah, to based. Just like, how? He looks so lifelike. Main reason for German economy is doing poorly is because we don't have enough children and workers. You need more? Croatia is ready to volunteer like most of its population. USA is causing German decline. So it's like USA is attacking Germany because USA is starting a war in Russia. It has had a negative effect on German economy, which first of all is something that genuinely only Vucic could say. Something that only Vucic could say. But also, there's something interesting about the perception that Germany would still be sucking off Russians if USA didn't stop them from doing so. It's like Germany was, all ready to bend over, and then evil USA jumped in and kind of just plucked Russian dick right out of their mouth, and now Germany is like, that's what it feels like to me. It's like, you don't think Germans would want to fight to save themselves? You don't want Germans would want to fight to help save Europe? You don't think Germans would want to fight because they genuinely see Russia as a threat? You think Germans would want to stay GG with Russia despite the fact that it's doing a full-scale invasion on Ukraine? After they have seen all of the previous invasions that they have been doing and ignoring them and then still trading with Russia in hopes of Russia being peaceful? But you still think they would have believed in the possibility of trading Russia into peace? Curious how much of imbeciles you think every single German is. almost surprising to me. I don't know. I would have been insulted. Give the dick back. Yeah, basically, I'm every German right now. It is kind of what it feels like. Yeah, nah, Germany's doing well. Germany's GG. Just it's weird the way he sees it.
Throughout Europe, and that's crazy.
Selling our cars and killing our bicycle riders with those same cars. Holy shit.
Hurting everybody, possibly with the exception long term of Russia, and empowering everybody outside of Europe, the Gulf states, China, Turkey. So you're really seeing the world reset in response to this war.
That too, he does this stupid thing with like switching. He was like, this is not a war against Russia, right? This is not a war, this is not a war. But then he switches to it being USA war. And both sides can't coexist, because in him calling it a NATO war, he would have to admit that if it were a NATO war, it would be a benefit for NATO, as Turkey is a NATO member. One of strategic NATO members, on a very important position, right? But then he tries to make a whole claim of like, oh, the enemies of the West are the ones actually being empowered by this war. And then he has to place Turkey on the enemies of the West side. And then he has to switch it to USA war instead of a NATO war. It's just... Zelensky being authoritarian autocratic? It's because Tucker is very likely getting paid by Russia. I think if you look at the most how they say it, people who most likely are directly paid by Russia into their bullshit, I think Tucker like takes the top of the list. Most of the influencers, when you look at them, you're like, could just be stupid, you know, like Gonzalo Lira, for example. Tucker, though, I'm pretty sure this man is getting paid by one of their outlets. Reset to dog whistle to the retards who believe in the Great Reset. Oh shit, I forgot about that. USA or somebody else blowing up Nord Stream. How to... Wait, do you think he believes in Seymour Hersh still? Do you think if you ask him for evidence on USA blowing up Nord Stream, he's gonna give us Seymour? With his super ultra secret USA intelligence source being Russian. You guys remember that? Because you need to remember that, okay? Whenever you see Seymour Hersh quoted in any sort of capacity, in any sort of article, okay, I must be certain you will remember the fact that he was fed Kremlin information while thinking it was USA information. Either he was fed it and not knowing, or he did know he was spreading Kremlin information and he lied about it being USA information. So the question is whether he did it willingly and by choice, or if he did it because he is too stupid and he didn't recognize. But whatever happens, his articles were bullshit, and right now they're fucking useless because he quotes the supposed USA officials, USA intelligence officials, so many times, and he based a lot of his opinions on them when they seem to have been just Kremlin people. American sanctions on Russia meant that American media companies and outlets aren't allowed to get paid by Russia. It depends on which Russian outlet we are talking about. Not all of them have been sanctioned. So it depends on the outlet, it depends on where the outlet has... what's the word? Where it's located. And just depends on the laws in different countries. It's very, very hard to do these sanctions properly. Poor wife in his underwear. Yeah, that. I was trying to remember that word. Wife. Fucking wife. What a goddamn loser. Holy shit. More images of this thing getting blown the fuck up. F-16s. We're getting F-16s. And we're getting a lot of them. So be hyped about that too. Here's one of the articles of a Wagner fighter and also types of people you are allowing in your country if you still want Russians to be allowed to come in. He did another murder. So, yeah. Moldova. I think we went through this one, and I think we're GG on this one. Oh, Sarah. I saved this post by Sarah because I thought it was based. If an invasion takes place against Ukraine from across the Belarus border, we will see one of two outcomes. One, the enemy will die in the swamp 2. The enemy will die in the streets. Freedom to Belarus. Like, come on. Do not have true free speech. Freedom of expression. Much of Europe is also implementing this type of authoritarian rule. Wait, when you say they, who do you mean? What was the free speech conversation even? Where did that start? Where did that start? Why are we talking about free speech? Why did we switch to that? Can I know? Can I get information? Oh, I didn't open this one. Where's my thing? Where's my thing? Where's my thing? Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing? Also, I don't know, like, when you say what countries outside of the US has free speech, how would you define free speech? What does that mean? Like, being allowed to criticize, by the way, I have to show you this video, but like being allowed to criticize the government is without facing repercussions? Is that what you would see as free speech? What would you say as free speech? How would you define free speech? Like, for example, if you were to look at Sweden right now, what makes you think Sweden doesn't have free speech? Yeah, like Germany too. I'm pretty sure Germany is also GG. No, because I think the definition is important, because I've seen people genuinely saying that because Germany is punishing people who deny the Holocaust, that Germany doesn't have free speech. So I think that's why definitions matter, you know? It's like, huh? But yeah, I think most of us do have proper free speech laws. You wouldn't say, for example, Turkey, I think, is not really doing too well with it. You're not allowed to criticize the president. Belarus is doing horribly on it. Russia, of course. How's Serbia doing? Serbia is doing acceptably well, isn't it? You would also need to look into Press Freedom Index, right? And then figure it out from there. But I think most of us are just doing okay. They're even better than USA. Holy shit, United States is like number 44? So it's not even among the best ones? It's not even among the best? Damn, USA could learn from better countries. Schultz regime has been monitoring your internet data? No. He probably knows exactly when you go to piss. He has a camera in all of your toilets. Media continues to face political pressure in Slovenia. Bro, how many media houses do they have? One? US has way more freedom of press than European Union. My dude, my sir, it's number 44. You may observe Italy is right here, Czech Republic is right here, Slovenia is right there, Slovakia is right there, France is right there. Do we count United Kingdom? Like, the top of the list is literally Norway, Finland and Sweden and Denmark. What would make you say US has way more freedom of press than European Union does? It's number 44. Like, I don't know what sort of a statistic you could be making. First Amendment that protects press freedom? Bro, come on. Wait, are you American? Are you American? I'm actually wondering about that. Sometimes I wonder if this whole thing about like constitutions is just an American thing, or if it's if Europeans also fall for it. So far the theory is that it is just American. So I do wonder how that would play out in praxis. Yeah, but like UK is not European Union. You said US has way more freedom of press than European Union. So if you were to compare, for example, Norway, or I don't know, European Union. Okay, which country are you from? Which country are you from? USA #1. They have free speech laws on paper, but laws on paper don't mean shit. Yeah. That's what it. Finland, bro. Finland's like top of the list. What's wrong with press freedom in Finland? What's wrong with Finland? The world's first censorship ban was adopted under Swedish rule in 1766. Limited legal sanctions can be ordered by courts in cases of defamation, extreme hate speech, or high treason. Like, you're doing good. Was there January 2023 conviction of 2 reporters? Are they gonna give me a link down? I think there's links down to see what that was. No case of corruption of a journalist or editor has been reported. Zero killed, 0 detained. Like, they seem okay-ish. Wait, USA is also at 0-0, right? I hope it is. Holy shit. Who has? I think Serbia has 1. Oh shit, they have 1 killed? Who? In September 2022, Las Vegas Review-Journal reporter was stabbed to death. A Clark County public administrator who lost the primary election after Jeff German exposed his misconduct while in office was charged with his murder. Holy shit! Gated communities can have their own rules. You can still be ostracized by communities, and your workplace could also block you. Cancel culture is an American thing. It won't be a problem if you didn't attack freedom of speech. Yeah, that too. No, I do think it's I've mostly seen only them place so much trust in the constitution. I very rarely see people be like, oh yeah, actually it says this in Croatian constitution, you know, for example. Oh, the Croatian constitution is saying this. It's kind of, I don't know, I mostly had the impression that most of us just know that constitutions are, you know, a piece of fucking paper. And there's really nothing making them inherently stronger than any other law passed in a country, right? It's like people can change the constitution. Sometimes the constitution does need to change, and sometimes, very often, you will go into these constitutions and you will read through them and they will be so vague and so flowery that people will be allowed to pass like very shitty laws which still technically do comply with constitution but also kind of don't. I've rarely seen anyone but USA people place so much trust into the paper. Finnish premiere, Sanna Marin. Sanna was amazing. Cancel culture in Germany? Who did you cancel? Did you cancel someone? Who did you cancel? Who are you canceling? I saw one of your celebrities cancelled. It was like a year ago or something. Hey, yo, Tina. They haven't blocked Russia today. And you they did pretty sweeping bans on most Russian state media. Yeah, that was based. That was fucking based. That was a great decision to do. Holy shit. Should have been banned way previously. Way previously. Should have been banned in USA too, my dude. One of stated goals of Russia today is starting division in societies. Simonian herself had a whole little speech about how Russia today is used in other countries to cause more discord in them. That should have been banned. That should have been banned years ago. Banning war propaganda isn't banning press. Yeah, that too. But it is directly controlled by the Russian state, so yeah. A French yellow vest protest you had from Russia today? That's fucking weird. That is fucking weird. Our caveman brain is not made for civilization. I don't know if I would agree with that. Because that claim, for the way you were saying it. Hey, Mail Rights USA, what do you think about press freedom in United States? The way you say that claim, you're saying it as if like civilization was imposed on our caveman brains, when it actually was our caveman brains that created this civilization. You know, like we made it this way. We created it for ourselves. Russia did crash, though it was good. Murdering journalist part won't spread over here. With AFD fascist, I fear it's just a matter of time. I'm still hoping that the remaining part of Germany just kind of gets bored of them. I don't know if that's gonna be happening. I'm hoping that most of Germans just go, hey, you know what, these AFD people, yeah, kind of fuck them. I don't know why we ever trusted them as much. Free speech should be absolute, however Democrats try to limit it all the time. What do you think was the way Democrats tried to limit free speech the last time? What was the last attempt to limit it? Build the wall back again. Hey, we're gonna build a wall to separate us from Russia. German politicians suggesting to ban the entire party that has 20% impulse. Yeah, that's kind of based, though the party in question is Nazi. AFD people are strongly infested with Nazi particles. So I see why the conversation was being talked about when it came to suggesting to ban the party. Also, it hasn't been banned. It hasn't been banned. So I don't know how big the move was to ban it. I don't know, some people said it, but I don't know if they did it. But they have a lot of Nazi particles in AFD. Should have been banned. Personally, like, I wouldn't have anything against it being gotten rid of. They've been horrible. Deplatforming the press or other media? Who did they deplatform? The Democrats? How? Who did they deplatform? Banning an unconstitutional and democratic party is indeed democratic and according to our constitution, yeah. Bro, AFD is a Nazi party. Holy shit, what are you talking about? One of their people literally spreads around the poor victims of Dresden Nazi myth around. They use strongly Nazi wording. They're absolutely a party made to appeal to Nazis. Where are you on? It definitely is a Nazi party. Oh yeah, also he wants to end sanctions against Russia, so that also is horrible. But yeah, he used very, very Nazi terms, which he first denied were Nazi terms, and then he admitted they were Nazi terms. He was in an event where someone called the war criminals of Nazi era boys who ended up on the gallows. And then first he was like, yeah, I actually told him not to refer to them like that. And then he had to admit that he just kind of was okay with the wording because there was a video from the event and he was okay with the wording. He was trying to revive the victim myth of Dresden. Like he wasn't too... he absolutely is Nazi affiliated. Oh yeah, my man has claimed we should recognize Taliban as the official government of Afghanistan to deport immigrants back. He's against Putin being called a war criminal, of course. Against arms deliveries to Ukraine, of course. He claimed that Russia and Ukraine will both lose the war, as there's gonna be only one winner, and the winner is USA. Which, like, of course. I think you're talking about Alice when you talk about this one. The Nazi bitch. The Nazi bitch. Because she has a little rant against political correctness in 2017. And then as a response, one German journalist was like, yeah, political correctness actually fucking based. We should kick that shit out. Listen to this Nazi bitch. She's correct. And then she tried to get him deplatformed. Which, you know, is very much political correctness, which is something that she was against. But also she is against people from minority groups. She described members of Merkel's government as enemies of the constitution, puppets of the victorious powers of the Second World War, which is an interesting way to refer to your enemies. And then pigs. She also called them pigs. But like puppets of the victorious powers of the Second World War. Oh yeah, also this thing. I don't know if I talked to you about this thing, but she claimed that in her city, a bakery got a huge fine because basically she said that a office worker came into the bakery and he was like, oh, I really quickly need to buy like one of these things, but I have forgotten to wear my mask. Can I please just buy one of these like little breads without a mask, please, I'm like very hungry. And the bakery was like, the bakery worker was like, oh shit, yeah, okay, there's no one around, there's no one here outside right now. Yeah, sure, like quick, you can buy it. So the dude buys the little bread in bakery, right? And then he goes out and then he reports them and then they have to pay a huge fine. So she brings up the story up at a meeting, and of course all people against, you know, COVID restrictions are like, whoa, what horrible thing. The government workers are pushing the poor bakery workers into having to pay huge, humongous fines. And then the city is like, kind of curious you're talking about this, because we don't really know of a bakery where this has happened. And then the bakery in her hometown was like, yeah, this never happened. This is not true. And yeah, she admitted that she lied later. Like, you know, you're basically defending a party filled with Nazi particles and just useless bunch of people. There's no point of AFD existing. And yeah, of course, she is against sanctions for Russia, and she's against Putin having to go to a war crimes trial, because why wouldn't she be? What else would people like that be supporting? They recently proposed to kick disabled children out of regular schools. What the fuck? And to install a new civilian armed police to restore order. What the fuck? Holy shit, that's just... Bro. Oh, bro. What did I have? Oh shit, yeah, this one. Oh, this one. On the basically this one was just politicizing tragedies, which is like more of a piece of shit, not really Nazi particles. Talking about Nazi particles though, this one believes in the existence of secret, globally operating elites who are covertly working on a new world order. He wrote on his Facebook account that the new world order already controls the federal government in Germany, Protestant church, railways, Christian Social Union in Bavaria, Greens in Baden-Württemberg, various aid organizations, and the German Fire Brigade Union. So, yeah, he believes Middle East refugees are part of a managed invasion, receiving money for crossing to Europe from Saudi Arabia with the goal of Islamizing Europe. And then he also used the Nazi term, which is our people's body. He also used a Nazi term in one of his emails. First, he said he never sent such an email. Then he admitted he did send such an email, but he claimed that the email was sent to a small private circle and thus wasn't meant to be seen by people outside of it. But like, you know, overall, I think it's rather obvious why why people are hating on AFD. And I think it's also quite obvious why people are okay with the idea of them getting banned. Like, I'm personally just absolutely fine with the idea of them getting gotten rid of. Not allowing people in wheelchairs to go to normal school is surely better. Oh shit, it was like that. Damn. Whoa, 70, bro. Bro. Where could I find that? How would I look for that? AFD? The education system would need to be freed from ideology projects such as inclusion. These goddamn liberals and their stupid ass ideology of inclusion. What did he even, the fuck did he even mean by that? What is he against? He did not respond to a request for comment. No other party in the state's parliament cooperates with AFD. Fucking great. Well, let me see if News Now has something new on them. Surprised they're still allowed? Yeah, definitely. I wouldn't blame Germans for a second if they got rid of mixing the capable, I mean good German kids with the undesirables. Man. Why the AFD must not be banned? Ban AFD members from holding church positions, Catholic official demands? What? President of the... Wow, nice. President of the Committee of German Catholics linked the party to xenophobia, anti-Semitism and other inhuman attitudes, arguing anyone advocating for the AFD should be banned from holding positions within the church. Whoa, organized religion actually producing some people with normal views? Whoa. She demanded Catholic Church not look away from the AFD's success in the polls, arguing that organizations should serve as bulwark against the hard right. Organized religion people learning from their mistakes. Whoa. Okay, this is huge. That is huge. Anti-nationalist Christians, yeah, fucking based. Of course they want to bitch about it. Of course they want to bitch about it. Oh shit, I've seen this by the way. What was it with that? What was it with that? Hey Kim, do you know something about this event? Because I've seen Germans making really weird conspiracies about this. Like this candidate for AFD, he claimed he was assaulted at a campaign event. And I've seen people being like, no, his wounds look way too symmetrical. And then the way I learned about this is because someone shared an image of what it looks like when you're driving a bicycle around with glasses on and you fall on your nose. And it's like he can produce a very, very similar effect to this. And they were mocking him because he was driving like around. They claimed that he was driving one of those electric automobiles around and that he found his face and that this is how it happened. I thought it was funny. Scholarly religious peeps are usually pretty based. The ideological ones are neither zealous nor bearable. Huh. That makes sense. I've never really thought to make a distinction between the two groups like that. But now that you've said it, I see it, to be honest. I see it. It makes sense. Are you people still talking about humans being extinct? Damn, I missed that chatter. Who was that chatter we had? Who's always like, oh, humans gonna be extinct by the age of 2000 something. I kinda miss them. I kinda wanna cry about them not being around. Also, I'm just thinking about how much I don't really know scholarly religious people, because when I think about my professors in elementary and high school, they also were not... Oh, you changed your username? Nice, smart. to be able to infiltrate once again. Even when I think about my religious professors, they weren't really too... No, I don't want to know more. I don't really take that theory seriously. Even when we were getting religious classes, even then it always seemed like our professors know less than we did. It comes from like a very edgy position of me, wanting to do a lot of research into religion when I was like 12, so I did a lot of reading into the Bible, and then I read a lot of essays that people were writing on parts of the Bible, right? Because I wanted to know a lot more than what I did, because I wanted to know if it was true or not. But it was like very, very easy, even before that, to know more than they know. And I've never thought really of making that distinction between like them being ideologically driven and maybe some smart people being more like scholarly driven, so they actually can properly, describe their beliefs and everything. Oh, he's just happy as long as he's able to read the Bible and go to church. Damn. I need to analyze the types of believers I meet more into depth now. I'm kind of interested. Proper denazification. We're actually looking at a man cosplaying a proper denazification target, but he's still existing. And we also don't know if he even was supposedly denazified or if he is just doing okay. We don't really know. đabalebaroši. Hey, by the way, I have to show you why đabalebaroši is in my title, okay? I have to show you the news about my people. You have to learn about my surroundings now, okay? I'm the main bitch now. Look at this. Montenegro just held the laziest citizen contest. A legendary one this year, by the way. A legendary one, okay? So I've saved some videos on the stereotypes about Balkan people down here. So if you want to learn about our stereotypes, we can learn about our stereotypes. But this was Montenegro laziest citizen contest. Basically, the contest is you have this little bed thing. You lie down under a tree. You chill for as long as you can. You chill. You can go use the bathroom every 8 hours. You can have a book, you can have a phone, you can have snacks. Your family can bring you more snacks. They can bring you water, they can bring you juice. I don't really know what stops people from just living here for months. Maybe not being able to take a shower, maybe that, but I don't know. Everything else seems perfect. But listen, this year, this was the legendary edition. Legend fucking edition, okay? This year, the prize is 1,000 euros. Previously, the prize used to be 300 euros. This is important for later, okay? Remember, 300 euros, okay? Right now, the prize is 1,000, which is actually a lot. Nice little sum of money. One of the competitors this year is Dubravka Aleksic. Dubravka Aleksic holds the record. She spent 117 hours in bed. Record holder. Okay, one of the legendary competitors, one of the main bosses you have to beat on your way to laziness. Another participant. Okay, Dmitry is irrelevant. Mitso is irrelevant. I need to find a specific one because I can't remember her name. Here she is. Milka Doderovic. Another legend participant, another boss you have to beat. Milka Duderovic lasted 52 hours. Now, you may look at like, 52? But this one is 117. Why is the difference so grand? Why do they have two... No, you don't have to sleep. You can just like chill around. You can just like chill around and read a book or something for 117 hours. You don't have to sleep. You can just chill. But yeah, the reason why there's such a huge difference between 117 and 52 is because Milka Duderovic has participated in the competition on older rules. One of these actually older traditions was that you were getting only 300 euros as a winner of the competition, which I know what you're thinking right now. Doesn't seem too bad. 300 euros, still a nice sum of money, you know, still an okay sum. Not too bad. Milka was competing at the time where the rule about going to the bathroom every 8 hours did not exist. Milka lasted 52 hours in bed without leaving it. The rule about being able to leave was only introduced later. That's why the difference is so huge between the two record holders. One of them was allowed to go to piss every few hours, the other one was not. I don't actually know if she was like pissing in bed or if she just didn't drink or eat anything previously, so she wouldn't have to piss. I don't know the story about that, but I do know that it was 52 hours without getting up and without going to the toilet. So yeah, amazing bladder. Also, I liked how they interviewed participants. One of them is Dimitria. Dimitria was like, to have a few days of peace is immeasurable. No matter how long it lasts, there's nothing to think about these days. In this too fast life in which we live, every hour, not a day, is too big to dedicate to ourselves. This is the best moment to dedicate 24 hours to ourselves. Which actually, I look at it and I'm like, yeah, I kind of wish we had laziest citizen competition too, because I like that explanation. I'm a big fan of that explanation. But then also, where did I have it? Oh yeah, here you have the rules. You are allowed to sleep, you're allowed to meet food and beverage needs, you're allowed to read books, you're allowed to use the phone. Standing up is violation of the rules. Everything else is GG, okay? Everything else is GG. Now, I learned about the last year's competitor. Last year's winner, actually. Knelle. This is Knelle. Knelle has... What was my translation of this? Physically attacked the employees of a local daily newspaper because they called him đabalebaroši, which is why it's in my title. I wanted to teach you about the word đabalebaroši. Let me write it to you. đabalebaroši. It comes from two words. One of them is jaba, the other one is chleb, which means bread, which I think is also a Ukrainian word for it. I'm pretty sure. Jaba chleb. Jaba chleb person, basically jaba means free, chleb is bread, and then rosh is like denoting a person. So free bread person. Think of freeloader. I've heard of two different explanations as to where this word started. One of them was that they want to get their bread for free, right? They want to get their bread for free, so they don't do anything like in type of working. They want to get free bread. And the other one was that jaba actually shouldn't be translated as free, but more like in vain. So for example, if you do some work, if you do some hard work, and then you get no payout from it, it will be said you did it in vain. You did it za jaba. And the explanation is that parents of these people are giving them bread in vain, because these people will never make something out of themselves. So you give them bread to like feed them, to nurture them, to keep them growing, but they never actually, you know, it never actually pays off. That's that. So yeah, two different definitions of where the word comes from, but it means free bread person. And he was so offended by the fact that this is how the local newspaper has called him, that he went in and he attacked several employees. So yeah. I thought it was kind of funny, you know. A man who spent the most hours sleeping around is also the man who was willing to get up and walk to the building of the nearby newspaper to attack people there, like physically. Impressive. Impressive, impressive. Being called breadman, yeah, basically, yeah, breadman. Looks like just like Polish. Says Žarko Pejanović, zvani Knele. Žarko Pejanović, whose nickname is Knele, who won at the traditional competition in lying down, organized in Brezny in Montenegro, has made an incident. Has done an incident. Has created an incident. As German, I deep inside have always this little uneasy feeling that people in Eastern Europe are not only much better in surviving different hardships, but do actually enjoy life more at the same time. I've genuinely heard a lot of Germans say something like that, that they love coming for vacations here because like Balkan people actually do vacations. And then they compare it to like Germans, and Germans don't really do vacations. Germans don't really do relaxing. It was when I was in... Yeah, he has shown the ability to take initiative. Not really a common thing for đabalebaroši. When I was in Germany, one of my friends there has told me that like actually he believes that foreigners have taught Germans how to have fun, because he doesn't think that Germany had nearly as much of a culture of like just going out to relax and have fun and to drink some beers until the foreigners came and we started just like drinking everywhere. And they picked it up from us. And I don't know how true that is, but I did think it was like a funny little thing to think you've taken from a foreign culture, right? You're like, oh yeah, the best thing that we took from you people is drinking. Yeah. And then especially with the stereotype of, you know, Balkan people being alcoholics, I thought it was funny. I thought it was a funny little thing. Yeah, but Montenegrins kind of enjoy the lazy stereotype. Montenegrins think it's funny because mostly they've just kind of gotten used to it. But also having these like little stereotypes about different nations in Yugoslavia was almost a cultural thing, wasn't it? I have saved this little thing of how Montenegrins have embraced the stereotype, and also how they have adapted their culture and also their tourism industry around it. So when you go to Montenegro right now, when you try to buy these little souvenirs, it's gonna be like, oh, Montenegrin working day, and it's just a person like sleeping somewhere, right? Or like t-shirts with the inscriptions such as, what you have to do today, do the day after tomorrow. Work can be the cause of many serious diseases. So I thought that was funny. You also have a link. I'm gonna give you a link to the whole article, by the way, but you have a link here if you want to open the PDF. And I thought the PDF was very interesting. And then also I've saved this thing on like stereotypes around. So we could, I don't know if we watched this one, my dude. I wanted to watch this one, but then I was like, it looks kind of familiar. It looks almost as if like we've already seen it. This dude. You know this dude? You gave up drinking?
When it comes to dysfunctional regions...
Does that mean you don't have enough Balkan people around you? Germans aren't known around the world for drinking beer. Technically. I'm trying to find a nice way to say this. But like, listen, as a prelude, as an introduction to my opinion, I have to let you people know that I was in Eastern Germany. So maybe the situation is a bit different in Eastern Germany than it is in other parts of Germany, okay? Okay. But Germans are fucking boring drinkers. Germans are boring drinkers. I have not seen a good German party at all. The only good party I have seen in Germany was party of people who came to Germany as immigrants, and then they had like multicultural parties. I have not seen a good German party. I have went to German bars late at night. They never had good parties. And I don't even know if you have like party drinking music. Do Germans have party drinking music? Do you people have like psyche? What do you people listen to when you go out to party? Do you listen to like techno music? Because that was most of what I've heard. Do people drink the techno music? They drink their beer hot? Oh. Oktoberfest? Oh yeah, Oktoberfest looks fun. It's like 1 day per year when they can have fun. Profiting off negative stereotypes is very base, true. Montenegro is the first nation to have a Sigma mindset economy while still being lazy as fuck. But also it kind of isn't fair because their stereotype is actually fun. You know, our stereotype is, you know, being fascist. So it's like, you know, how do you... It's not like we can do the same, you know? It's not like we can sell you souvenirs with like, huh. Hot, sexy fascist in your area or something like this, you know? Yeah, I'm just saying. It's not like we can embrace the stereotype against ourselves. The stereotype about Serbs is that they are war criminals. The stereotype about Slovenians is that they are all gay, which I guess we could be using. We actually have to look at the stereotypes. Maybe he says something that we could be using for our... I know Macedonia has like stereotype of them being monkeys, but I'm not sure you could be using that one for your little tourism shtick even. Online? I don't think you can improve communication skills online, to be completely honest. I think you need to go offline for that. I don't really think there's a way, because online you will never be able to know the context, you will never be able to properly say whatever you want to say with the correct intonation. I don't really know if it's possible. Czechs, wait, which one is Czechs, which one is Poles? I always confuse the two of them. Give me a second. Czesi, Poliaci. Let me try to find which one is which. One of them gets lost in the mountains. The other one gets lost in on the sea. Which one is which? That's our stereotype against Czechs. And then against Poles. They're like connected to each other. Oh, the Poles are the ones getting lost in the mountains. The Czechs are the ones getting lost in the sea, it seems. Yeah, seems it's that way. Seems that's why. I always confuse them. Which one is which? But what you people do is you come to our you come to a vacation in Croatia and then you get lost and then we have to save you. It's kind of the meme is at this point that like that is the start of actual tourism season in Croatia. When the first one of them gets lost somewhere and we have to go and save them. So the official services for saving people from mountains, they will always post about it. They will be like, hey, our first Czech saved from a mountain. And then we're like, yeah, nice, congratulations. The tourism season has actually started. Because what you people do is like you put on flip-flops and you go up on a mountain in flip-flops. Like flip-flop, flip-flop, flip-flop. And then you can't get down. And then you get lost. And then you like cry around and then you call help and we have to go rescue you. Or you get one of these, you know those like banana things on the sea, and you can like drive them around. It's like and what you do is you try to reach Italy. Let me show you the map. Let me show you this. Let me show you how this works, okay? Now, when you come to the Croatian seaside, okay, you may actually be confused by this if you are a geographically challenged person, okay? But many people come to this area here, or like to one of these tiny islands, but most of this area here, and what happens is they go into the sea, whoosh, and they see Italy. And million IQ of the brain tells them, you know what I should do? I should take one of those banana things, and I could reach Italy, because Italy looks quite close to my area. So what happens is they go, they reach approximately like, I don't know, here somewhere. They can't move anywhere because everything heads them and they're too far away from either shore, and they just cry. So then we have to send rescue teams to go and save them. Like Czechs and Poles, always, every single time. It's like a common joke here that when you speak about these people, you go like, hey, did you know that actually this is a state-held secret, but Czechs and Poles, they have mountains? Did you know that? Because the meme is that your area is basically, like here's the area where I live in Croatia, and it's known as the flatlands of Croatia. You see how there's not like many mountains here, it's kind of flatlands. It's even more flat if you go here, okay? But here's us in this part, okay? The meme is that your country, entirety of it, is flatland, and this is why you get lost in mountains, because you don't know what a mountain is. So you just kind of go up there and then you get lost. So that's the meme. But we love your stories, to be honest. It's a positive stereotype, I want to say. Like the stereotype of Montenegrins being lazy, for example, it's also a positive stereotype. So when we say Montenegrins are very lazy people, we don't say it in like a bad way, it's like a joke way. When we say you people get lost on mountains and on the sea, it's also like a joke way. It's like how we're having fun, you know? It's like, it's cool. It's like we're friends thing. Slavs bullying each other, I guess. It's much different from us talking about stereotypes for Serbia, for example, because those ones are actually negative, and those ones actually are not used in a positive way. That's actually kind of interesting. It would be cool to get like each country's stereotypes on other countries, but then to separate them into like positive and negative ones. Your mountains are quite small. Hey, see. But it's a good stereotype. It's like with Germans. We mock Germans for the way they dress, because they have like a German style of dressing, and it's mostly those, we call them Schwabske, papuče, Schwabske slippers. It's those leather ones with like with little like thing that goes over your toe. It's very German, and they always wear that over their socks. Let me show you. Does it shows me the meme immediately? Not these. This is like some losers way of calling them. I mean the leather summery ones, like this. Think of this. It says this is how you clean your favorite German shoes. This is always leather, and it's always worn across pure white socks. And also another meme like connected to this one is that Bosnian people also do this, because the style of wearing these socks was popularized by the stereotype of German tourists. And then Bosnian people were like, I want to be cool like that too. So now there's a meme of Bosnians wearing very, very white socks, and usually they do. And it's basically, the idea is that it's a meme because they're flexing the fact that they have a washing machine at home. Okay? Because like the socks are very, very white. So because you see the socks are very, very white, it means that they're trying to flex to you that they have a washing machine. Because if they didn't have a washing machine, they would just be going around barefoot. Because why would you wear socks under your sandals? So yeah, I hope that was educational content as you're used to seeing on the stream.
Very few come close to it, except for maybe the Congo.
Nothing wrong with this too, it's just Germans.
Most live leak videos.
We love Germans. Germans give us a lot of cash money. Thank you, Germans. You are my best friend. You're the peacekeeper. You are the legend.
Yet, the Balkans proudly hold that title, consisting of 12.5 countries, dubbed the powder keg of Europe. The Balkan Peninsula is a geographic equivalent of the butterfly effect, where essentially calling your neighbor a beaming bonobo ends up in the Germans and French cutting each other's throat with a rusty knife in some Belgian forest, which name sounds like you have something stuck in your throat. Now, for many this might seem odd, as practically the region is inhabited by a bunch of white people who practically look identical to each other.
Too much work lately.
Live in the same dilapidated
Too many
communist
tourists.
apartment blocks. And they speak a language similar enough that they can understand each other without using English or whatever the hell
Pizza.
this thing is.
I tried new beer.
Call a language.
Yeah, you reminded me I have to flex with my beer proficiency. I tested new beer.
Yet they absolutely hate each other with a burning passion.
It was really
and
good.
exhibit the
They
utmost
gave me beer
pettiness
with
towards
like
each
orange
other. With the region being in such an anarchic state, it is
slice
no wonder
in it.
that the
That was
place
weird.
would create some of the best and most
Arbeit macht
high-quality
den Tag kaputt.
stereotypes
Oh,
and jokes
true.
against one another. Many of which have made it to the internet, corrupting the youth
I was
of
like,
the
what's
West.
what's the
Now,
most fun beer
if
you
you're
have?
not
And
from
he
the
was like,
Balkans,
this
you might
one,
be
because you get
confused
orange.
to
And
as
I was
to
like,
why
yeah,
is
nice.
this pink-haired anime fanboy being represented
And then I got
as a
two of
wannabe
them.
German? Why is this
So
chap
that was a
always
mistake.
saying that he is the ancestor of Alexander the Great? And most importantly, why were the Greeks in Paris? But do not fret, as someone who calls this dumpster fire of a peninsula my home, I feel that it is my civil duty to explain every single Balkan stereotype to you in an effort to spread Balkan influence across the
What?
globe. So, without further ado,
Shut the fuck
in
up. Srbičian, Boobsnian, Turgay, Gay Freak, Mountain Censored. Where's like Croatian though? We don't have Croatian. Most used emojis. Yeah, we don't have Croatian. Did he even? He didn't put Croatian. Bro, he put like Kosovo is Serbia. He put this. That's Serb. This is Serb. This is Vucic. He put nothing of Croatia. He put Kosovo. He put Bulgaria. He fucking put Bulgaria and he didn't put us. Little bitch. Where is he from? Croatian probably getting demonetized. Fair point. fair point, probably. Is he a Serb? Romania? He's Romanian. He's a bro. He's just angry. He's just angry because we got into Schengen and he didn't, little pussy ass bitch boy.
Effort to spread
That's
Balkan
fair.
influence
That's fair.
across the globe.
Hope he likes not being in
without
Schengen.
further ado, let's begin. When it comes to Slovenians, the main way they are represented online is as well femboys. When being talked about online, you'll often see them represented as Astolfo, an anime trap character from the anime series of Fate Apocrypha, and followed by some caption like the most masculine Slovenian or some shit.
They deserve it.
Now, this meme originates from a Yugoslav stereotype about Slovenes being feminized and unmasculine. Most of this stems from them essentially being different than other ex-EU nations. Now, on the surface level, Slovenian and Serbo-Croatian is a quite similar language. However, when spoken, them essentially being...
Bro, why are we here? The first time he shows the Croatian flag and he shows us as the fucking baboon. The hell is that thing? Orangutan? Fuck this! Fuck this!
Being different than
First
other
representation
ex-EU
I get.
nations. Now, on the surface level, Slovenian and Serbo-Croatian is a quite similar language. However, when spoken, Slovenian has a way softer and less harsher tone. Therefore, it has given it a reputation amongst ex-Yugoslav nations as being a more feminine dialect of the language. And, well, language in general. And also, while most of the Yugoslavs were under the Ottomans, being turned into sweet little shish kebabs, the Slovenes were stuck in the HRE, sipping wine, and fighting about who Jesus loves more. Thus, from a perspective of many of their ex-countrymen, they are seen as being kind of more delicate and weaker, as they haven't had
and
to
the other
live in
one
the
is
same
beloved
civil
philosopher
as they have.
Slavoj
Which, as a
Žižek.
result, in a completely non-homophobic
True though.
fashion, gave them the reputation of...
Plot twist, both of them are the same person. Žižek probably plays Heart of Iron.
Being
What
gay
else
and
do
femboys,
philosophers do?
Far before the internet even came into existence.
He's probably just gaming and sitting on
my
his
mom
ass.
is 57 years old, and when I showed her a Slovenian meme, she completely got it, without any explanation needed.
Blocked.
And if I show her
Done,
any
you're
other meme
blocked.
that isn't a boomer
You're
meme,
done.
where the characters have comically large noses and spew like wife bad, she looks at me as if I killed someone. So, you know. When it comes to Croatians, a lot of the stereotypes associated with Slovenians also overlap with them, as they also speak a more softer dialect of Serbo-Croatian. Well, that being Croatian.
So precious.
Okay.
And most importantly of all, you're my good boy.
They aren't really seen as femboys, but rather virgin beta males who get stuffed into lockers and suck up to the teachers.
What was that mean?
And suck up to the teeth. Rather virgin.
Virgin Croat versus Chad Herzegovina.
Beta males who get stuffed into lockers and suck up to the teachers.
Ja posjedujem rješenje. Prvo, uočiš mi ga. Drugo, naciljaš mi ga.
Treće, popušiš mi ga.
Isuse Kriste prostak.
Profesore, ja bi vrištao kad bi video teroriste I onda bi mu skočio u krilo.
The stereotype again stems from a slightly different history than the rest of the Balkans had gone through. Croatia was under the Ottomans for a way shorter time compared to the rest of the mental illness cluster, and for most of the modern era they were loyal subjects to the Habsburgs, which basically pushed this meme of them being bootlicker betas, unlike the Serbs, who took Ottoman stakes like real men. Additionally, in meme culture, most of the Balkans will be depicted as non-white, meanwhile, the Croats will be depicted as the pastiest MFs on earth, and also as being racist.
But wasn't that one just like...
will be depicted... Sure, most of the Balkans will be depicted...
She's like, most Balkans will be depicted as non-white, and then there's a Croatian also being non-white, and then he's like, Croatians are gonna be depicted as pasty as fuck, but we're not, look at us, we're not, leave us alone.
As non-white, meanwhile, the Croats will be depicted as the pastiest MFs on earth, and also as being racist. Now, contrary to popular belief, no, the stereotype doesn't originate from them browsing some questionable Telegram channels. Rather, it stems from World War II, where Croatia adopted fascism and allied themselves with the Axis, and committed some of the worst hate crimes on earth that even the Axis thought was too much.
Also true.
Oh my god, bro.
Which, if you think about it, fits perfectly with the virgin beta male, so... Now,
fair.
Bosnians have a lot of stereotypes associated with them. The most prominent amongst the ex-Yugoslav nation is that they have big heads and that they are extremely cocky despite having an IQ lower than a banana.
Crazy hamburger! Crazy hamburger!
Thus, in most Yugoslav nations, the jokes being thrown around the table on family gatherings are about Bosnian stupidity. Usually the main characters of these jokes will be two characters called Muja and Haso, who will end up doing some mundane, everyday things in an extremely hickish way. Now, it isn't really known where this stereotype originates from. Some theorize that this stereotype comes from Bosnia being a very rural society where their neighbors basically thought of them as hicks just because of that. Much like in the US, where most of the South is thought of as being rednecks.
Hey Patrick,
what
am I now?
Stupid?
No, I'm Texas.
What's the difference?
But much like the Slovenian fanboy meme, this stereotype also dates back to the foundation of Yugoslavia. Ah yes, Serbia, the greatest country on earth. When it comes to God's favorite country, Serbs are usually
Vučić met Tucker Carlson.
Barbarians who eat nothing but meat and raw onions, and then wash it down with the vilest of brandies that is almost 90% alcohol. And then they go on a murder spree, killing anyone that does not partake in their tradition of consuming raw onion and pig fat chips. Now, most of this stereotype originates from Balkan countries outside of the Ottoman influence. The ones in the Habsburg Empire usually thought of the Ottoman Empire and the Yugoslavs within it as being quite uncivilized and brutish due to the Ottoman Empire, well, the Ottoman Balkans sprawling with banditry, and it was quite underdeveloped compared to the Habsburg realm. They also saw most of the Yugoslavs living in the Ottoman Empire as practically inferior, as they were being ruled by non-Christians, and a lot of alien traditions were imposed onto them, which quite drastically different than most of European traditions and day-to-day life. Alongside that, the stereotypical brute image also stems from the picture of the Chetniks, were essentially a nationalist guerrilla fighting group during World War II that boasted a quite ungroomed look with bushy and long beards, who consisted of nothing but meat and ungodly amounts of liquor.
2 shots of vodka.
The Serbian war criminal meme also started to stem from the Balkan Wars, as the Balkans in the early 20th century were in particularly violent and unsettling region where countries would constantly gang up on each other and then ethnically cleanse their
What's he
newly
playing in the
obtained
background?
territories. Amongst the other Balkan nations who partook in this, Serbia also had their programs of Serbianization, particularly in their provinces of Kosovo and Macedonia. However, the stereotype really started to flourish during the Yugoslav wars when Serbia did a bit too much of trolling the civilians.
Bro.
On the internet, you will see the depictions of Serbs stemming from these origins, usually depicted as brown-skinned brutes who boast something about defending Christianity in Europe, blah blah blah, war crimes.
That was a good meme though. Hey, Montenegrin's the main
You know
stars.
It? I know it. Your grandma knows it. Lazy! When it comes to the Montenegrins, everyone in the Balkans unanimously stereotypes them as being sleepy and lazy. After the Bosnians, they are the second most made fun of people on the territory of ex-Yugoslavia. Everybody in the Balkans knows at least one joke about how a Montenegrin does something half-assed just so he can avoid working. Much like the whole Bosnian stupidity stereotype, the origin of this one is also quite unknown. Some people have theorized that it is because Montenegro has a quite Mediterranean climate and warm temperatures and also a lack of arable land, that when visitors would go over there during medieval times, they would see them as kind of just hanging around rather than working in the fields, which gave them the title of
Hey, thank you for joining, Crinstall. Thank you. Hope you'll have the best sleep ever.
Last but not least, we have the country that makes Greeks fume at the mouth, that country being none other than Macedonia. Now, if there existed a nationality which just simply being mentioned to a Balkaner makes him grin, that would have to be Macedonia. Many in the Balkans find the existence of this country to be extremely hilarious due to their language being extremely similar to both Serbian and Bulgarian. The main difference being it has simpler grammar and uses archaic words, which basically makes the language sound hilarious.
Последното возење кире печијаревски да ти јебам мајката и на кире и на тебе кретену глуп пичка ти матери.
Practically both nations, Serbs and Bulgarians, call them Serbian/Bulgarians with a speech impediment. However, the Macedonians see themselves as the ancestors of Alexander the Great and ancient Macedonia, despite their unmistakable Slavic origin. Thus, many in the Balkans find this extremely hilarious and satirize them severely.
Hey y'all, come look at this.
Македонски цар Стефан и владетел на Ромеи, Влахи, Арбанаси, Серби. Ако е он поставен за македонски цар, државата не може да биде Србија. Значи државата е Македонија.
Now, the most famous meme regarding Macedonians is the
That was way too long of a fucking meme.
Calling them Monkedonians. Essentially, the name Monkedonian is a play on words, however, it does have a little bit of depth to it. Predominantly in the Balkans, the word monkey is used as an insult when you want to call someone silly or ridiculous or just
I remember like Macedonia works on
in Macedonians as monkeys
English.
Due to their unique take on history. And yeah, those would be all the stereotypes regarding the ex-Yugoslav countries.
But it's kind of funny though that he comments on the unique take of history of Macedonians, but Serbs believe Jesus was a Serb. Serbs still have the theory that Putin himself is a Serb, and the only reason why this has not been revealed to the wider nation is because he doesn't want Russians to be feeling sad because their great leader is a Serb. He doesn't want them to feel kind of abandoned, so that's why he's keeping it a secret. But they have a whole theory of how Serbian delegation came to Putin, and then they showed him the paperwork proving that he's actually a Serb, that his family has Serb roots, and they claim he was, I believe the exact quote is, he was very glad to hear about this. You've never heard of it, truly? Dude, I remember reading about the entire theory. That was so great. Didn't it have? I'm pretty sure it had a Wikipedia page. No, not this, not this, not this, not this. I need to find about him being a Serb. Elon Musk is from Sarajevo. Nice. Oh, nice. That makes sense. That's fucking great. No, they're trying to show me Putin's theories. I want Serbian theories. Ah. Jeli, Putin, Srbin. Ko je Vladimir Putin? Putin priznao da je Srbin. No, not this one. Vladimir Putin ima srpske krvi? Was that the one? Fuck, which one was it? But there was like a whole research. It wasn't just one article. Stocking up on beer. Hey, good luck, good luck, good luck. If I were a Serb, I would also hide it from public. But no, he's hiding it because it's too good and he doesn't want Russians to be feeling sad. Okay, okay, okay. Just come on, show some respect to our Serb bros. No. Oh yeah, there was some Nikola Putin in Banat, Serbia. Yeah, that's what it was, There was some dude, Nikola Putin, and then we just don't know what happened with them. And they're being like, oh, well, maybe Putin was actually one of us. And then they contacted some Mrs. Putin. And she let the people know there's no Putin family anymore in this specific part of Serbia, but there are some in other parts of Serbia, right? So maybe somewhere there. That's where you know, Putin is actually coming from. Muhammad and Buddha, were they Serbs too? Ooh. I would say yeah. I think everyone has to be a Serb in order to get any sort of you know, fame or whatever. Milosevic, oh yeah, fucking ridiculous. Fucking ridiculous. But you know, it's like Moscow. They're trying to find allies in the worst types of people, and it's kind of working. It's almost kind of working. It's almost being successful. It is almost being successful, my dude. Oh yeah, here he is. Here he is. Putin obratac. How do they translate this? They translate it as Putin's brother. Putin's brother learned from his uncle, okay, that Putin's possible Serbian origins were being investigated here. When asked if he was angry or offended, he received the following answer. He wasn't angry. He was looking forward to the story, and all the time, with the help of a number of friends present, he was obviously rooting for the Serbian version. Putin's a Serb, you heard it here first. Okay? When he loses the war, he's going to go to get a refugee status in Serbia. Okay? I have let you know about it. Nauru, fucking Nauru. How's Nauru doing? Is Nauru doing well? Hey, by the way, I have to leave relatively soonish, but I haven't shown you. Shit, do I show you my news on the... How much time do we have? It's 8:13. It's 8:13. I have something to show you still that you need to know about for today because I've prepared the news on it, so you need to be aware of it happening, okay? You need to be aware of it happening. And it's this. I think I opened it already somewhere in the tabs, but it's this, and I need you to be aware of this going on, okay? The fishermen have revolted against Russia. Fishermen have revolted. I repeat, fucking fishermen in Norway. What happened is basically, to know why this is a big thing that has happened, you need to first know about history. So, here it is. In Ireland, in 2022, okay, Russia was planning to do some war games. Russia was planning to do a little bit of, you know, warships going around waters, which were in the Ireland's exclusive economic zone, but not in their territorial waters, okay? So you can hold military exercises in someone's exclusive economic zone. You can't hold exercises in someone's territorial waters. the waters where Russians wanted to hold the exercise in, they were part of Ireland's exclusive economic zone, not territorial waters. So by law, Russians were allowed to do the war games there. Now, at the time, we were still having debates over whether or not Russia is going to go and invade Ukraine. So January 2022, right? So we're holding debates on it. We're like, oh, damn, what is Russia going to do? What is Russia going to do? The situation is so very tense. Oh, scary, 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 scary. And Russia is like, yeah, I want to bring my warships over to Ireland. So, of course, the Irish are like, we don't like this idea too much. What can we do about this? So they warn Moscow not to come. And Moscow is like, nah, who the fuck cares about your opinion? I'm going to come anyways. You can't stop me. So the Irish fishermen organize. And they refuse to leave waters. They maintain constant presence in the waters because they can. They're allowed to. So they stay in these waters and they're just there. And Russia can't put warships there and they can't do their stupid little war games because how the fuck do you do war games if you have a bunch of fishing ships just existing around? You can't do your war games well, right? So Russians have to give it up. And now the same situation, almost the same situation, happened again with Norway. So Norway has wanted to do a little exercise in Barents Sea, very close to Norway. Again, it does fall into Norway's exclusive economic zone, doesn't fall into territorial waters. So by law, technically, you can't stop them from doing this. Now, Norway is like, how do we stop Russia anyways? Because of course we want to stop Russia from doing anything that they like to do. May they go fuck themselves back in Russia. So Norwegian authorities are asking Moscow not to send warships there. Moscow, of course, is like, how to do? I'm just listening to myself and that's it. And then the fishermen are like, well, we haven't really gotten the warning that we need to leave these waters. No one really told us that we are not allowed to stay in these waters to fish. We haven't gotten any official confirmation of this happening. So I think we're just going to chill in these waters. I think we're just going to stay and chill there. And we're going to do our fishing. So that's what they do. They stay and they chill there. And they do their fishing. And Russia has sent out a warning. I have somewhere saved the name of the warning because I forgot about it already. Oh, NOTAM. There's NOTAMs and there's NAVWARNs. Basically, they're warning people not to come to the area, right? But it's just a warning. You don't have to listen to it. So the fishing ships still stayed there. And then they made a claim that, technically, it is Russian responsibility to make sure that the waters that they are going to chunk some missiles in don't have any fishing boats around. It is their responsibility. If you want to do your little stupid military exercise, do it on a place where you're not going to endanger anyone. So Russia is trying to kick the fishermen out. It doesn't work, and basically it kind of wasn't able to do the exercise at all. Russia's warnings in sea expired on August 15th. So they lasted from August 11th to August 15th. August 15th has passed a long time ago. Russians couldn't hold the exercise. And I thought it was cool. I thought the entire story was very, very interesting because it shows that if we as civilians unite, we can also cause some like huge changes. Yeah, thank you, Misa. Thank you. You're actually correct. The fishermen did win. The fishermen won against Russia 2 times so far. 2 fucking times. Come on. How cool is that? 2 times. Like January or December. Ooh. Bro, if we survive 2006, what do we do? What do we do? 2026. Holy shit. I'm gonna start so many parties then. Man. Yeah, it is Russia that created this fighting rage, and they are also the ones responsible for clearing such an area if they have plans to take the missile test seriously. And then I've saved basically 2 different videos on how Russian Navy is just sucks humongous balls. So I think for the end of the stream, we could go through one of them. And then I could go to sleep. So I have this one, and I have, which one is shorter actually? Let me see. This one is 23. And this one. is 8:46. This one is actually shorter. And this one also goes to the topic, through the Dogger Bank incident, which is basically a situation where you're gonna see it, but Russian Navy has fired at British fishermen. That was the entirety of the incident. They were in their waters and they saw fishermen and they were like, "Ah, fishermen!" So they shot at them. That's the entirety. There was no provocation. There was no reason for them to do this. They were just fucking stupid. And also, I think this dude explains it rather well, to be honest.
Abundance of iconic combinations out there, like spaghetti and meatballs, a sorority girl in a white Jeep, or depression and alcoholism. But like US presidents and convertibles, not everything can be a match made in heaven. And as much as Mother Russia would love to dominate the high seas, nearly landlocked nations and stellar navies don't
Christmas
exactly
tree,
go
set
hand
the
in
shit
hand.
on fire,
With
yeah,
all
true.
the Russian Navy's dismal, underwhelming, pathetic lack of glory in the early 20th century, it's always important to look on the bright side. Like how it gives me good YouTube content. So in today's episode, I'm going to learn you all about the misadventures of the Russian Baltic Fleet.
By the way, is it correct to say I'm gonna learn you all? I'm gonna learn you about something.
It's the turn of the 20th century, and what better way to kick off a new era than expansion? Russia is cool, which is great for things like stopping Nazis and badass TikToks, but not ideal for ports. Having your port turn to ice every winter is what those of us more versed in nautical terms would call not very cash money. The Russian Empire notices China has a pretty nifty port with, get this, warm water. However, there's this pesky little thing called a border in the way. But that's okay, China isn't European, it's not a real country, so Russia takes control and gets the Qing to lease in the port. Japan doesn't like what they see, so they meet with Russia and are all like,
"Hey, vodka boy, invading China is our thing."
but Russia won't share, leaving diplomacy dead in the water. But that's okay. The new DLC just dropped and everyone's just itching to try out their new toys. So the Japanese attack Port Arthur, kicking off the Russo-Japanese War. Fast forward a few battles and the Russians are losing pretty badly. So the Tsar authorizes quite the preposterous proposal of sending the Russian Baltic Fleet to reinforce the East. And you may be wondering, but Blue Jay, what's so preposterous about sending reinforcements? Well, kiddo, the Baltic part of Russian Baltic Fleet means it operates in, get this, the Baltic. And as we learned earlier, boats don't like ice, so you can't go this way to Port Arthur, meaning the Tsar authorized a plan for an 18,000-mile journey around the world, which is 29,000 kilometers, or 1,140,480,000 gumballs. The voyage was also a logistical nightmare, as the Russians didn't have any holdings in Africa or South Asia to refuel along the way. Add to the fact that the fleet spent months at a time frozen in port, so the crew of mostly uneducated peasants couldn't tell you the difference between a bowline knot and a porcelain pie. This group of inexperienced conscripts is put under the command of Admiral Rozhetsvensky, a man so prone to anger that his staff made sure to keep a large supply of binoculars at the ready due to how often he would throw them overboard. But hey, fuck it, what better way to learn than a trial by fire, right? So they set sail on their epic quest to turn the tide of the war and bring glory to the motherland. And immediately the flagship runs aground and a cruiser loses his anchor. While they waited for the flagship to refloat, a destroyer forgot friendly fire was on and rammed into a battleship, prompting it to return for repairs. Don't worry men, surely this can't be foreshadowing. As the fleet pushed on, a growing hysteria spread amongst the crew. They were afraid that at any second they'd be ambushed by Japanese torpedo boats. By Denmark. This is where the war is if you forgot. But the crewmen didn't have time to worry about things as frivolous as logic. So when two fishermen approached the fleet to deliver a message, they opened fire. The two fishermen survived the false alarm without a scratch thanks to the horrible standards of the Russian gunnery. As for their message, they informed Rear Admiral Rozhetsvensky that he had been promoted to Vice Admiral. Iron this. This wouldn't be the only false alarm, as later another ship signaled that she was under attack by 8 Japanese torpedo boats, only to find out that there were 0 Japanese torpedo boats. There was just nothing there. Having survived the Baltic, our heroes made their way towards Britain, where they encountered a small group of fishing trawlers at Dogger Bank. But surely by now our skittish sailors have learned their lesson. Ninjas! Strelientes pushik! Chaos ensued as the Russians laid down hellfire upon the unsuspecting fishermen. The Russians are going bonkers. Some run around the deck aimlessly waving cutlasses to repel imaginary boarding parties, while others just cuddle up on the deck with life jackets, accepting their demise. Keep it up, men! These Japanese have horrendous aim, Igor. We haven't even taken a hit. But hey, at least this time we made sure they weren't fishermen first. We're shooting at fishermen, aren't we? Definitely a possibility, sir. Well, at least we didn't fire on our own ships, killing a sailor and Russian Orthodox priest. The British trawler fleet were sitting ducks as their nets in the water prevented a hasty escape, and the Russians fired at them for 20 minutes before realizing their mistake. While this sounds like the setup for a massacre, you forget our heroes are about as effective as a guy holding a fish on Tinder, sinking only one trawler and damaging 2 of their own ships. The battleship Oriole really captured the spirit of a TikTok pickup artist, reportedly shooting 500 shots without scoring a single hit. 2 fishermen and 2 Russians died in the mayhem, so at least the survivors can brag at the local pub that they tied with the Russian Navy. This event became known as the Dogger Bank incident and nearly ignited a war between Russia and Britain. The Brits just settled for revoking their access to the Suez Canal, forcing the Russians to make a slight tweak in their course. The slow, coal-powered fleet made its way towards Africa, attacking more civilians and cutting underwater telegraph cables along the way. They met up with some German supply ships to refuel due to the aforementioned lack of African holdings to make port. What nice friends, those Germans. I'm sure their relationship will last. Africa's pretty big, almost as big as my self-loathing, so they took on double loads of coal and kept giant piles of the stuff just sitting on deck. Definitely the kind of thing to land you an EPA audit. But it's not like any sailors were going to die from black lung, except for the ones who did. Morale is low, so the Russian crew decides to lift their spirits by treating themselves to the exotic pets of Madagascar. Alright men, you all can... Hey, Igor, stop sniffing glue for a sec, buddy. You all can go to shore and pick out one thing to bring back with you. Nothing too crazy, like snakes or crocodiles. What did I say? Sir, I can explain. Watch it throw back the shot at Tito's. The ship became a floating zoo as the crew brought on a bunch of animals to roam the deck freely, including a crocodile and a venomous snake, which apparently took a liking for vodka. Panic followed shortly when the snake wrapped itself around guns and bit a commanding officer. One sailor gifted the admiral a parrot, which soon took after his rather extensive vocabulary of Russian curses. The flagship soon became overrun with chameleons, who would frequently go missing due to their ability to seamlessly camouflage. Hey Igor, have you seen Comrade Camo? I can't find the little guy anywhere. No, I don't think so. Have you seen him, Private? Yeah, I don't think you've seen him either. But a good zoo isn't complete without an underwater exhibit. And luckily for them, the cooling plant on their refrigeration ship broke down, forcing them to dump all their meat into the ocean and giving them a nice following of sharks. At one point, the fleet was holding one of many funerals for a sailor who died of illness. During the ceremony, the Kamchatka fired a gun salute. Excellent work, gentlemen. Hey, say, you boys did make sure to load blanks, right? Yes, sir. Yeah. Igor, you're looking kinda pale there, buddy. After some more shenanigans, like foiling a mutiny and receiving a shipment of fur boots and coats instead of ammo, Admiral Rozhetsvensky realized that they were approaching Japan. Oh shit, that's right, I didn't train them. So he decided to run some gunnery practice on a stationary target. Miraculously, our group of misfits managed to score a single hit on the ship towing the target. But hey, potato potato. At long last, the Baltic fleet closes in on Japan, approaching the Tsushima Strait during the night. The fleet extinguishes their lights to maintain stealth, all except for the Orel, which, as a hospital ship, kept them burning in accordance with the rules of war. The Orel comes upon a Japanese ship in the dark. And finally, after an extensive list of false alarms attacking fishermen and merchants alike across half of the high seas, they come across an actual Japanese vessel and determine it to be Russian. So they use their lights to communicate with it. The Battle of Tsushima ensues, while our gallant sailors hold their own against the Japan. The Baltic fleet was decimated. 4,000 Russians die, with an additional 7,300 taken prisoner, compared to roughly 100 Japanese deaths. This effectively ended the war, marking the first time in history that an Eastern power defeated a European one. Way to go, buddy. Let's add that one to the scoreboard. Oh dear. So, in conclusion, the Russian Baltic fleet's odyssey around the world is a tale full of shenanigans and blunt.
Wait, that's fucking amazing. Really? Baltic fleet? Wait, did they say which trip? Did they say which trip? Damage to Aurora. I've only read about damage to Aurora. I haven't really read about the whole trip, but this is cool. Yeah, more serious losses to both sides were avoided only because of the extremely low quality of Russian gunnery, with all firing more than 500 shells without hitting anything. Bro. Well, he was heavily criticized for not leaving the British fishermen lifeboats, so he should have like left them lifeboats when they were done with the attack, with 20 minutes of attacking them. Bro, nice. Okay, now I have to leave, but like nice. International Commission. The Commission has declared that their findings are not in nature to cast any discredit upon the military qualities or the humanity of Admiral Roy Destvensky or the personnel of his squadron. The commissioners take pleasure in recognizing that Admiral Destvensky personally did everything he could to prevent trawlers recognized as such from being fired upon by the squadron. Bro, how the fuck did he? The fleet proceeded to the Sea of Japan, where it was soundly defeated in the Battle of Tsushima. But yeah, I have to leave. I can show you the other video tomorrow. I have to go now. It is 1:30. It is 1:30, and I have my writing to finish, and then I gotta go to sleep. I have to wake up really, really early tomorrow. Holy shit. So we're gonna go to Thompson.
YouTube does not delete it. It's the guy who says, so I shaved my butthole, and he literally shows his fucking asshole, like, in the screen, and it's on YouTube.
That is fair. We will go to Thompson. I'm gonna give you the link to his kick, and then I'm having to leave, okay? Then I'm having to leave. It's very, very late. Tomorrow's stream should be happening at normal time, so at least I'm hoping for it. We will see for the stream after tomorrow, because I might have some plans on Wednesday, but also I don't know if I'm gonna have some plans, to be completely honest. So we will see how that goes. We will see what happens then. Thank you, Misa. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So, yeah, see you guys. Thank you very much for joining. Hope you learned something new about Russian fleets. I have to practically run right now, so I'm just gonna go end the stream. Stay strong, stay happy. Good luck. Yeah, thank you for being here. Good luck.